Everybody like to stand, pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just wait for you to start off.
I know. They were so well. Oh, first thing on the agenda. Do you want to do a 2-day alcohol permit application? Do you want? Yes?
Like, that's not till 5:05.
Yeah, wait till 5:05.
Well, do you want me to go over a couple things?
Sure.
All right, first thing is I opened my email this morning and I had received a resignation letter from Frank Hudjick due to his health. He's no longer able to perform the duties of the assessor for the town.
Did you home from the hospital?
I don't know, I know he went to a rehab facility. I don't know if he's back from there.
Okay.
I haven't seen him here at the lunches, so.
I haven't either.
So the chances are he's probably still
Okay.
located there. As a result of that, we now will have another position to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Hudjick. That basically, I think he's up for re-election next year. Okay. Received a letter from the town clerk today. Basically it states, this is to the Granby Selectboard. This is in regards to the resignation received today, March 18, 2019, from Frank Hudjick, a member of the Board of Assessors. In order for this vacancy to be placed on the upcoming annual town election, a vote must be taken by the Select Board at least 64 days prior to the day of the annual election, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 10. Today, March 18, 2019, is the 64th day before the annual town election.
So we must be kind of close.
Yes. Therefore, if the Select Board takes a vote at tonight's meeting, there is still time to place this vacancy on the upcoming May 20th election. If the vote is in favor to place this on the ballot, it would be a 2-year unexpired term. Mr. Hudjick's term was expiring in May of 2021. Your prompt attention to this matter is greatly appreciated, and please let me know as soon as possible on your decision in this matter. If the board does not take a vote tonight, then it would require a joint meeting of the assessors and the Board of Selectmen to nominate and vote in a person until the next election after this one. So we could appoint to the next election in May of 2020, and then the unexpired term would be placed on the ballot. I believe this would be more conducive to have the 2-year unexpired term filled based upon being on the town ballot.
Well, I would agree. I think we have the opportunity to put it on the ballot, give someone the opportunity to run for the open seat, and that's what we should do.
I agree. I will make a motion to put the assessor's position on the upcoming ballot.
I'll second Jay's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'll start correspondence too, if you want. We do have some Dufresne rentals and Brown Ellison. We have Brown Ellison for GAA baseball season and pizza parties. Reservation dates is June 19th and 20th. Arrival time 5 p.m., departure time 7 p.m. And basically it's maximum number of people is 75 per night. They are looking at the covered gazebo and large pavilion. So it's not Brown Ellison? You want to change that one then, Kathy? Thank you. Next one is for the GAA softball season. From reservation dates, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings between April 15th, 2019 and June 30th, 2019. Arrival time is 5:30 p.m. Departure 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be 9 a.m. and departure at 4 p.m. Maximum number of people is 50. Field number 3, they want to use field number 3 using the Taylor Street entrance. Next one is for GAA baseball season, coach pitch program, T-ball, and 3/4 grade baseball. Monday through Sunday, April 16th through June 30th. Arrival time 5 p.m., departure time 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. Arrival time 8:30 a.m., departure 3 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Maximum number of people is 100. Area being used is fields number 1 and number 2 only, using the Taylor Street entrance. The next one is for the East Meadow School. Reservation date Thursday, May 30th, 2019. Rain date would be Friday, May 31st, 2019. Arriving at 7 a.m., departing at 2:45 p.m. Maximum number of people is 400 to use the pavilion, bathrooms, kitchen, and fields. And the last one is for the Connecticut Valley Mineral Club. Reservation date September 15th, 2019. Arriving 8 a.m., departing 4 p.m. Maximum number of people, 200, and basically it's for the pavilion and bathrooms. And that's it for reservations, which takes us to 5:05.
The 2-day permit.
Roll
Would you
call.
like to invite?
Come on up. Oh, nope, come on.
Okay.
More the merrier.
Oh, you're just doing the permit for the charter day or
Yeah.
the alcohol?
It's for the
It's the
2-day alcohol permit
So it's
application.
chartered. So Crystal Dufresne here on behalf of Granby Charter Day Committee.
Ed Holberg on behalf of the Granby American Legion. Same as last year, the two-day were to do the beer tent for Friday night and Saturday. Again, we would not be open on Sunday for the beer. Last year they had the parade, but it's easier. The only, everybody pretty much the same, except we would like to ask, on Friday and Saturday night, we had to close at 10 o'clock last year. We'd like to be able to stay open until at least 10:30. While the bands are still playing, that would still give us time to close the last drink thing at 10:30. We could get everybody cleared out of there in time. We had a lot of people that pack in at the end. And then if we could do that, because that, to be honest with you, that last hour is the most profitable time of the night. We do more business in that last hour, and up until 10, even at 10:30, when we shut down, we had,
Quite a few people.
oh yeah. But that's always the way it is. The last hour is the busiest time of the night in any kind of thing like that. The other thing is, on Saturday, Saturday during the day, Saturday from 12 to 4, we would like to have it so we can have it open for families to come in. We had a lot of families came last year, husbands and wives with kids, babies, strollers, small kids, with their kids. And they wanted to come in and have a beer and have a sandwich, but we couldn't let them in because there were no kids allowed at all. But what we'd ask is that just for families that come in with their kids, parents with their kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
after 4 o'clock, no kids at all, not even with the parents. But we were pretty, it was not a lot of people. Most of the people that showed up on Saturday during the day were young couples, and they come in, and so what would happen is the wife or the husband would come in, have a beer, then they'd have to go out and watch the kids while the other one could come in and have a beer. That's the way they did it. And there's, it's nothing in the law that says they can't come into the beer tent like that. But it would only be with kids with parents. And be honest with you, you're not gonna get a lot of teenagers coming in there with their parents to be seen with their parents between 12 and 4 anyway. It's mostly young, little kids and babies and stuff. And it'd be pretty obvious who was there, but after 4 o'clock, none whatsoever. But that's the only other thing. We have the same thing. I have Budweiser is gonna supply the beer wagon. I think this year they told us they're gonna have us move over to the bigger tent, and that'll help alleviate some of the crowd in this.
It's not going to be the bigger tent. We are going to get a bigger tent for the beer tent.
Okay.
But it's not going to be as big as the other one was.
Okay,
That was a 40 by 100. That's a big tent.
okay.
So it will be bigger than last year, but we're still looking at the sizes as far as what they offer for a tent size.
Yeah.
It was 40 by 60 last year, and we only got 3 tables in there. So one of the things that Chief Woodshart and Eddie and I had talked about on October 10th, we had a meeting just to kind of review what happened last year, what can we do better this year. And that was to put more tables and chairs in there. So that people can sit down and they don't feel the need to stand up and they're bumping each other. We didn't have any problems, but I feel like the more they're crammed in, the more they're bumping each other, it can create problems. So to put more tables and chairs for them to kind of relax is what we were looking to do this year.
Do you see any problems with the requests that they have?
Well, there's a few of them there. I know that just trying to think back to exactly what the first one was the hours. I can appreciate that would be the most profitable time. That's also right before people hop in their cars and leave. So I don't know that makes a lot of sense to extend the hours, because that's when you're going to serve the most alcohol. I'm not sure that I would say from a public safety perspective that makes a lot of sense. I can understand from a business standpoint why it does, but if the park closes at 11, I don't know that extending the alcohols any closer to the time when the park closes makes a lot of sense from my perspective. I know last year there was an issue about, when I say an issue, something came up where, without looking at the permit, alcohol was supposed to be stopped at 10, is that right?
Yeah.
And there was an issue where there was some confusion as to whether people could still be served, but the permit specifically said 10 o'clock. And so they didn't serve anything past that, so, I don't necessarily know that it makes a lot of sense from a safety standpoint to serve people up until the time that they have to be out of the park. If you were to do a last call at a bar, you wouldn't wait, and if the bar closed at 1, you wouldn't serve till 1 o'clock or 1:15.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to, especially if you say that's the busiest time to give people as much alcohol as they can in the next hour before they leave.
Well,
That's my perspective.
Yeah, this is mainly because the band's playing at that time until 11.
Well, that's another issue. There was an issue with the timing of that. There was an issue with the timing of the
Truck pulls.
The truck pulls. It's something that should really be looked at in terms of what's the final cutoff. I know it was incredibly successful and they had way more people show up, correct me if I'm wrong, than they expected, which is a good thing, but it just kept dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. And I don't claim to know exactly what time it ended, but I think that it was to the point where they were like pulling the plug on it because there was so many people that had registered for it. There should be some sort of outside time for that as well. So.
Were there any disorderly conduct?
No,
Nobody took anything?
The only situation that was remarkable, if you could say say that is there was one person who was in the alcohol area.
He showed up, he was drunk when he showed up.
No, absolutely. There
And we
was
cut
not-
him-
It was
Okay.
not him being served issue alcohol, it was an issue of him actually not being served.
Yeah, he didn't, we wouldn't serve him because
Right.
he showed up drunk.
Yep.
Okay,
And
So
our
that,
bar- and
and I was gonna clarify that, that wasn't a situation where he was being served by anybody at Charter Day. It was clearly of his own doing.
his own volition.
And we had to escort him out, but other than that, I'm sure there was some minor things that officers dealt with, but nothing major.
Nothing significant? Okay.
No.
Are you, your service certified for,
Yep.
okay,
All my bartenders at the club, we use bartenders from the club
okay.
to go up there, and our bartenders are safe, certified.
Serve
Tip
safe, certified, okay.
And I was up there the whole time, basically, and I'm not a bartender, I still got tip certified myself, the same as we do for, as everybody who works out there. And anybody that, we had a couple people who helped us out from another bar, but they were all tip certified too.
Okay.
Yeah, we use all experienced bartenders.
It's just-
We didn't have any trouble. Because we had enough bartenders, and I had 2 or 3 guys there that acted as double check on people coming in, that type of thing. We gave wristbands out. Everybody's ID was checked. They had wristbands once they came into the thing, and they were checked, and we had 2 or 3 people doing that. So other than that, it worked. We had with the Budweiser thing, it worked really well,
Oh, okay.
service-wise and everything.
Just the 2 other things that you had brought up was the larger tent. That would absolutely not be a problem. The bigger, the more people, the area people have to move around is a good thing. And the same thing with the tables and chairs. I'd rather have people sitting and relaxing than standing on a fence.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Those make sense to me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Particularly when they have kids.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, I know the board last year had decided that, not having any kids in the alcohol area made sense.
I think, being accompanied by a parent, if they're young enough, they're, I don't know, the teenagers or whatever, but I mean, as long as nobody's buying them alcohol or their parents aren't permitting them to run amok.
But I'm just saying that from the perspective of last year. That wasn't a decision that I had made. It was a decision that the board had made.
Yeah.
Or a suggestion that I had made. It was a decision that the board had made,
Made.
saying, why did kids need to be in there?
I know when the board met last year, we kind of wanted to see how
It was gonna work.
It was new or something has been done in many years. So it's something that we wanted to see how it went. And it sounds like it was.
We learned a lot ourselves and,
Right.
How to do it, because we had done it before. It's been many years since we did it, and there's other people, but, we even learned how to, what we did to make it easier on everybody is we set like 3 prices for levels for the drinks depending on wine, whatever. And so everything was clear and it was rounded off, so we were able to handle the transactions easier. Had a couple of people doing that, a couple of people serving, the people's checking the IDs and stuff there. And myself, I was there the whole time to just oversee the whole operation and everything. And then we had the officers that were there, everything went, smooth. And I'm not, I'm not looking to stay open right until exactly the thing, but I think if we get between 10:15 and 10:30, because if theoretically, if we have to close at 10, then that means we have to start shutting down like about quarter of 10, to get out of there by 10. This way, we could, if we targeted at 10:30, we'll start shutting down at like 10:15 and stuff. And most of the people there's a lot of people at last minute that worked at the fair or something, if they get off working and they wanted to get a beer before the band's playing, so they wanted to get a beer. After the fireworks, people came running back from that, and they wanted to, from the fireworks, have the music's playing and stuff, because the band stops playing and everything.
Same
And
thing
it's-
with the truck pulls too.
Yeah, but-
Once the truck pulls ended, they were coming over to listen to the end of Trailer Trash
We
and have
had-
a beer.
We had everybody, the 10 o'clock, we had everybody shut down and out of there. We just start, like at 10:15 or something, what we do with last year, earlier, what we do is, we knew we had that 10 o'clock thing, so we just say, okay, nobody can come into the beer tent after 10:30, after 9:30, because we could process everybody in there and do it that way. We just stop people from coming in. made it easier, so that way everybody that's in there is, you know. And people are also limited, they can't get to, you know, 2 or 3 beers, they can only each get a beer, they have to, you know, together type of thing, so someone can't come in and get 3 or 4 beers and whatever, that's not allowed. We don't allow that in the bar, you can't go up and buy more than the beers that you have with the people, type of thing, because you can't control beer, bottles or drinks once they leave the bar area, you know.
So what is the limit now?
Huh?
One person, how many drinks do they have?
We're at the,
For charter day, so if I go up there to purchase a beer, how many can I
you're
get?
gonna get 1 beer.
Okay.
You can buy another one after you drink that, but you can't walk away with 2 or 3 beers. I mean, another person would have to be with you to get the other beer. That's supposed, you know, that's the only way you can control it. You could have people just taking beers off, because, you know, they could be passing them over outside the tent or something.
I'm just wondering, and the reason I bring it up, because you talk about the lines and stuff like that. I know at like other sporting events, something like that, it's usually they allow 2 is the limit when someone goes up there. And the reason I'm asking, so if I'm standing in line and I get a beer and I go and sit down and there's 15, 20 people in line, I may have to wait another 15, 20 minutes to get another beer.
Yeah, well, it's first, you know, we take everybody in line and control it. I mean, people don't, that was one of the things that this guy got tipped off, is you had drinking too much, is he came in and he wanted to jump to the head of the line right off the bat, you know, I'm Mr. So-and-so, I should be able to, you know, and type of thing. But, yeah, we try, you know, the bartenders, we try to control it. I mean, we're not pushing, and lots of the people we're fairly good about it.
So I'm gonna give you an example. So if we look at approving the family times from 12 to 4, so, you know, say a husband and wife come in, either one of them go up there, purchase a beer, someone stays with the kids.
Well,
And
they're,
they can't, yeah, then
You know,
the other
that's-
one's gotta wait in line to
right, so
get
they-
another
to get
drink.
theirs, right.
yeah, the kid, with a family like that, that would be, you know, they could do that, but now they have to, one comes in, the other one stays in another area, and then the other one can come in and have a beer. And if they want to just, they're there in the afternoon, they just want to have a sandwich and stuff, buy some food and sit down with the kids and have lunch. Right now, they can't do that together.
Right, but I'm saying that, so the husband and wife come in, and only one can go up and purchase a drink at a time. I'm not too fond of having the kids stand in line for the beer.
No, the kid wouldn't be, the wife would, you know, the kids wouldn't be up at the line getting the beer, they'd be at the table.
But what Mr. Sexton is saying, that then the husband or the wife should be able to go up there and order 2 beers, 1 for each of them, so that they're not waiting in, so that you're not in line with the kids.
Oh, we could, yeah, that is very easy to control, because I'd be honest.
It's not busy during that time from
You're
12
only
to 4.
talking, if, you know, 4 or 5 people sitting, you know, it's very easy.
What time is the park officially closed? 11?
11.
Is that half hour gonna be enough time to get everybody out safely?
It's not, I mean, realistically, it
Well,
depends on what's going on. It takes a long time to clear the park. It has nothing to do with the alcohol.
It's the rides, it's the truck pulls, it's everything.
It's a big area to move a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the alcohol. And vehicles, right, so you can only get them out so quickly, so that really doesn't have anything to do with, in my opinion.
Well, that's what
It
we're
doesn't
looking
have
at.
anything to do with the alcohol, it's just there's a lot of people in a small area, and to get them out, it takes a long time, so. And I don't think that really is gonna change.
We would have to change what time we close the fair. So if we
Right.
close at 10:30, then we could possibly have them out by 11. But we would have to change the times of the fair, which I don't know how long it's been till 11. Forever? I don't know.
As long as I can remember.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't see a problem with the time.
Yeah.
As far as staying open, the park being open to 11. I certainly don't see any issues with
Your requests. You know, I mean, you seem to have everything under control, and, you know, being serve safe, alcohol certified and all that.
Yeah, we have to, because.
The liability,
I have to take a special liquor liability
yes,
permit out,
I realize that.
because it's for the Legion, not the bar. I mean, the bar and the Legion are 2 separate. The Legion owns the building, and we pay rent to the Legion. After, all our profits go to the Legion. So we're not supposed to make, even tax-wise, we pay taxes, and we have to pay on any profit we have. But hopefully, at the end of the year, everything gets paid into the Legion upstairs because they're not taxable. And that's the goal, is to support that. And then we give all that money, pretty much all that money we give away
Which I realize.
to
you did, yeah.
scholarships and the kids, but that, it's a separate thing. So I had to take out a separate liability policy for
I
that.
realize, yeah. No, I don't have any issues with your suggestions. I certainly don't. I don't know.
I like to go, there's 3 different changes that they're looking for right now. I like to go one by one,
Okay.
instead of just having
Like a blanket?
a blanket to all the things, so. But one thing I wouldn't, I have trouble with serving till 10:30, when the park closes at 11. The same thoughts that the chief has as well. I think it's, I hear what you're saying as far as profit and things like that, but I also see the point as far as a safety concern. The other part I look at is kind of what I brought up before. I see the other side of that, where if we're talking about family times, 12 to 4, which I don't see an issue with. But I also, I guess from I don't see a problem with allowing someone to obtain 2 drinks at that point. Just, like I said, most of your sporting events that you go to, whether it's, at one of the arenas or a college or something like that, they allow the person to go up there and obtain 2 drinks at a time.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
So-
that. We just, as husbands and wives, or, young couples like that.
Yeah.
And it's not that crowded during that period, that 12 to 4. It's, but most of the people that came in at that time that were looking for a beer were kids with, young family type things,
Right, and I guess that's kind of what I'm looking at too. And again, and even if we, I would suggest to the board, I'm not opposed to having the 2 drinks for the remainder of the time too. And like I said, I'm just comparing it to other events that go on, how they allow that too. Because I'm thinking, if someone does come up and buys a beer, by the time they get out of the tent, that beer could be gone. And, whether or not they could be in line, they stop, they start talking to someone, and it's a conversation. Then they walk out and get back in line or something like that. And I'm trying to think of a ways too, so that tent area isn't as crowded as well. I guess that's what I'm looking at. But I'm definitely, I'm not in favor of increasing the service times to 10:30.
10:15 be more manageable? Because the band's on till 11, so that's the only thing that we look at from our point of view, is we hear everyone complain, well, we have an hour with the band and we can't get a drink.
So I just gave you, someone can grab 2 drinks instead of 1.
Okay, so at last call, they grab 2 instead of?
Yeah, so that's,
Okay.
And that's, whether.
One
they
way
can do
around
that
it.
Quick, right, and
Yeah.
again, I think it's someone, they may, so they can walk back with 2 beers in their hand and finish up the night watching the band. I think, someone having, 1 or 2 drinks in the last hour, I'm okay with. And I would hope that would benefit a little bit too, as far as, again, I go back to the family time frame too. I think that would benefit that as well. Anybody have any other thoughts?
I take everything.
Into account, and I'm thinking, and, I mean, a little bit of leeway for them to make a little bit more money. I mean, so at 10 o'clock, I go up and I buy 2 drinks, 2 beers, okay?
Yeah.
And I drink it at 10:45. I mean, what's the difference in me walking over at
'Cause I think-
10:30 and buying one and drinking it 10:45?
Because at that time, because I think at 10 o'clock, it's over and done with. They're closing down everything. The last person's being served, it's over and done with. I just look at it that way, and, it's different to me that someone grabs a beer at 10:30 and now has that beer, takes half an hour, finishes up, gets in his car, drives away, or he or she.
The individual.
Right. That's just, the way, and trying to help out as far as with the family times as well, because I can see that, you get 2 people that go there, and if they're bringing the children, as I said, so, someone's not sitting down, someone can sit down with the kids while the other person goes up and grabs, two drinks for them and the other person.
Myself, I'll give Chief Wishart my vote. Either way, he wants to go.
You're hired.
He's the one that ultimately be looking. To close at 10:30 or 10 o'clock, I guess, the beer. I'll leave it up to you, because you're the one that's got to watch it all. And if the Charter Day's not closing to 11 and the park closes at 11, there's traffic issues coming out. So I'll let it be your call as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to micromanage it.
Well, I think, I guess my first suggestion would be, if whatever it is that the board finally chooses to do, it has to be, we have to put it in the alcohol permit.
Yeah.
So and that's for everybody's purposes. I thought, if that was the case at, say, last call is at 10 o'clock or 10:15, whatever, someone who wanted to could get the 2 beers. I think that's kind of a happy medium, right?
Yeah.
How many beers do you actually want to, if the person's got to go, right now as is, the person's got to stand in line, which is going to take them, 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a happy medium to both, I would think.
Yeah.
I would think that would probably be better for you and your people as well.
Yeah.
So you're not, there
Yeah,
isn't some
I-
mad rush, because I would imagine what's going to happen is you've got all these people in line who don't have any, don't have any beer, they're going to be
Well,
irritated because they
if
can't,
we,
they're an hour
if
left.
we say the last call would be 10:15, well, actually, about 10 o'clock, we'd start
They call
stopping
it.
people from coming in. So the only people that would be getting a beer would be people that actually came in after.
Yeah.
in that period.
I guess my point my suggestion to the board would be whatever it is that you decide, that there be some gap between, so we don't serve right up to the point where people.
10:15, yeah.
So whatever it is that you decide, I would suggest that there be a last call, no more alcohol served for a gap of time before.
Yeah, so,
So, one of the reasons why you wanted to serve later was for more profit.
Well, not necessarily, that's the most profitable time, but at the same time, there's a lot of people,
Coming
they're walking around and the bands are playing, and it's the last thing, and there's people coming off shifts and whatever, and we, just that, it's just,
I'd have to assume, though, just going by a profit point as far as for yourself and Charter Days, that when you start serving 2 drinks, I would imagine that's going to increase the profits, because now, everybody most likely is going to grab 2 drinks versus before they can only grab 1. Because if I know if I got to walk over back to where I was, most likely I'm going to grab 2 drinks.
Most of the time, the people in the line, they might, maybe a couple there, they might order the 2 drinks, and the boyfriend or the husband grabs 1 drink, gives it to his wife, and then they go off and are talking with their friends.
but now he's saying you can, I could get 2, you could get 2, he could get 2. So from a profit perspective, you're still going to make it.
And from
Yeah.
a table standpoint, which you didn't have last year, if you
Well,
have,
I think we have 4 tables in there, we're just
we
trying to add more.
right,
Yeah.
because somebody's always wants to reserve the table, so
Yeah.
somebody else can bring them back a beer. I don't see a problem with 2, but what time do you guys want?
He says 10. I'd give him to 10:15, just a little bit more time. That's what I'm saying. He says 10 o'clock, but he's not the,
I'm not necessarily married to the idea of 10 o'clock, I like the idea of a break in between.
okay.
That's what I would suggest. And-
I personally would do right now, since where I'm concerned, the level of professionalism I saw last year, and what I heard from everybody, I wouldn't mind extending it from 10 to 10:15, and then 10:15 last call. And then you got at least 45 minutes, with that cushion.
Well,
I mean, that's,
I guess the way I look at it, if we're going to go to, if you want to increase the time, then I'm not okay with increasing the amount of drinks we can get after the 4 o'clock time. Because to me now, it's down at 10:15, 10:30, someone can grab 2 drinks.
At 10:30?
or, well, if you increase the time to 10:15 or 10:30, right now, last call is at 10 o'clock, right?
No, we actually started last call at 9:45 to
you-
be able to get everybody out of there.
But you stopped-
But we stopped serving
At 10 o'clock.
anybody that was at 9:45, we said, this, we cut them,
Right.
we actually started cutting them at 9:30 from coming in, because we had so many people, so we kept, nobody else could come in after that time, and then we served drinks until like 9:45, around that area, so we could get everybody, nobody was getting drinks. I mean, there were people could stay in there, but they couldn't buy any more drinks. We turned the spigots off, basically.
So last call would be at 10 o'clock.
Even though it's 10:15 is what we're calling it.
No.
Even though you were saying 10:15, you said that last call, you start 15 minutes prior to last call.
Well, we start eliminating people coming in, so there's not continual flow of people.
We're not confused what last call and stop serving.
At 10:15 is last call, typically in the bar. That's anybody in the place, 10:15, this is get your beer now. After that,
Okay.
we're shut, that's it. Nobody else can get any more. We turn the spigots off, as, obviously, everybody that comes up gets served, but we would stop people from coming into the tent, so that would eliminate the number of people too. So that last 10, 15 minutes, we're just serving those people that were in line inside the area. We lock off the area so people can't come in. At 10:15, even though it's 10:15 last call, someone can't show up and come through the front. They've already been in the tent.
Yes.
And we're just serving those people that are there.
At 10 o'clock, you shut the line.
Line off,
Yeah, we start shutting the line down earlier, yeah.
okay. For the people coming in,
Right,
you shut the line off at 10
yeah,
o'clock.
so only people getting served are the people that are actually already in there.
So
Technically, 10 o'clock, the line gets shut down, no one's allowed into the tent, and you're allowed to serve to 10:15.
Yeah, 10:15, last call, yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I know,
If I'm going to a 2-drink limit, going from 1 up to 2, then I'm not okay with increasing the times. Because I could walk in, and I want one beer. Steve, you're out. I can grab you one while I'm in there. I think increasing it.
out.
No, but Steve could be in. I can grab one when I go up the line. I just think increasing it will solve the issue as far as, someone at 10 o'clock can grab 2 drinks, where before they can grab 1. So increasing it 15 minutes, and they can have grab 1 beer up to 10:15, I think says more if someone go to 10 o'clock and grab 2 beers versus 1 at 10:15.
I understand what he's saying.
Which I believe will increase your profits throughout the day. Because, like I said, now you can have someone that can grab 2 instead of not waiting in line. Because people,
Well, most people, they are coming through, their husband and wife, or wives, girlfriends, they're both standing there, they grab their drinks, they aren't buying 2 at a time. Because, first of all, it's beer, it's ice-cold beer, draft beer. They don't want to stand around with warm beers in their hand. So they would come up, get their drinks, because draft beer doesn't do well standing around.
But I just think they're accustomed to doing that at other venues.
Huh?
They're accustomed to doing it at other venues, so they do it here too, is what he's trying to say. I mean, it's doubling your profits no matter what if you do it all day,
Was there a limit on how many, you said that that's what you normally do, but was there a limit on the license, how many you can give
No,
somebody?
what I'm saying is normally, like, if I have people come into the bar,
Yeah.
the bar specifically, and they come in there, our bartenders can't, like, we have, might have a function going on upstairs and the bar downstairs. People can't come to the bar and buy a couple of drinks so they can walk upstairs with them, because we have no control over who's getting that
Okay.
drink upstairs. So the bartenders, that type of thing. But at the fair, people come in, I don't see I'll do whatever you guys want, but I don't see it as a problem. Last year, we monitored. If I saw people hoarding a bunch of beers or trying to grab, we stop, I would stop them myself, but my bartenders they're serving it. And we're putting, and everybody's there, and I'll tell you, if someone tried to get 4 beers, there's people behind them are gonna be upset, because they're standing in line there too. But I just think, compromise would be 10:15 last call, because we'd be serving last call, means everybody's there, can get a beer type of thing, but try to get it done within the next 10 minutes, done. But we would stop people from coming into the thing at 10 o'clock. But I don't want to make it so complicated as,
No, it's more, you're indicating a profit, and I relate to that, I mean,
well,
and I can understand where you're coming from, and I can, Chief Wishart, and I understand him, and I understand what he's saying. It's just that one of those things you say to yourself, what would be beneficial more for the Legion, in a sense? Would it be, and for whom you're serving, and for the bands and the whole bit, to get 2 beers, hold them.
yeah, we can limit it, we can do, say, hey, no more than 2 beers, that type of thing, that's fine. I'm just, profit-wise, I'm really looking at, if we make money out of the thing, I mean, and we're able this year to be able to give some money back to the town, and that would increase our pot that we could do it is, that we could have that money, because the first part of it goes to cover the cost of the beer. I mean, fortunately, I only have to pay for what we tap open, that's Budweiser.
That's their.
They give us a deal, they get us the wagon basically for
Williams
free.
Distributing.
I do have to pay the help that's standing there.
Okay.
We pay them.
And the liability.
And I have to pay my
Well,
liability
liability
insurance. And, the fee for the 2-day fee, but my liability insurance, that's, fortunately, I got that cheaper than a lot of other places have had it because of our situation with the club. We haven't had any problems or exposures there with the club for liability. So that goes good. That's.
Once again,
I think it went well last year. We saw things, and if, basically, if, I'd like, try it this way this year. If you have a problem, next year we cut it back.
Steve?
Can I just make a suggestion?
Sure.
And I think if I understand it correctly, Glenn, we're okay with the 2 drinks till 10 o'clock, but if they were going to extend it, it didn't make sense
One
to
drink.
allow people to get 2 drinks from that point forward. Just as a way of kind of a compromise suggestion, maybe allow that to happen till 10 o'clock, from 10 to 10:15,
1
you
drink.
get 1 drink.
Yeah.
That way you have the benefit on the other side of being able, not having the parents or whoever walk up and get 1 at a time with the kids.
Oh, we wouldn't have any kids in there.
Well,
I know
from
what
12
you're
to
saying.
4, 12 to 4.
Any scenario, I mean, we
Yeah.
have to think about any scenario.
I just think that might be a good way to get away from it.
It's a good idea.
Takes into account both sides.
And that's not gonna be an issue after 10 o'clock, telling people it's 1 drink after 10.
Hey, no, so you can only get 1 drink if, if you want 2 drinks, there's gotta be another person here with you, right there in the line with your girlfriend or your wife or whatever.
So what are the hours on Friday? Because your permit just says from 4 PM.
We actually start serving beer at 4.
Okay. So 4 to,
11. Well,
Well, no.
last call, 10. 10:15.
we caught you.
We start serving at 4. Saturday, we start serving at 12 o'clock or a little bit after that. We don't start serving before. Sunday, we're not gonna be open at all.
Well, the permit's gotta indicate that, so it's gonna be Saturday at noon, at 12 o'clock on Saturday?
Yep.
Guess we'll wait till the board makes a decision on the end time, so. Yeah, do you wanna do both nights, or you wanna do 1 night at a time? Are you okay with both nights being?
Permitted?
No, the time frame.
10, 10:15, 10:30, whatever.
both nights.
So we're consistent.
Yeah, it's,
Jay, anything else?
No, I'm just going along at 10 o'clock, 2 beers, 10:15, 1 beer, let's move on.
So at this time, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the 2-day alcohol permit for, it'd be, is it the 266 Lounge?
266 American Legion.
Okay, 266 American Legion. from the hours of, on Friday, which is June 14th, from the hours of 4 PM to 10:15 PM, with serving alcohol, 2 drinks per person up till 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, it becomes 1 drink per person till 10:15. And you stop serving at 10:15. Okay? For Saturday, we'll start serving at 12 PM and we'll end at 10:15 PM with the same part there as 2 drinks up until 10 o'clock and then 1 drink from 10 PM to 10:15 PM, with the last drink being served at 10:15 PM.
One other question.
Yes, sir.
He is proposing on Saturday having the beer tent be available to families from 12 to 4.
Well, I want to get the hours down first.
Okay.
For each one.
Okay.
Okay. That is my motion for that part.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. The second motion is to allow family times, if you will, in the tent, where I would just say people under the age of 21 will be allowed to come in the tent with a legal guardian or parent from the hours of 12 PM to 4 PM. That's my motion.
It's your motion, I'll second the motion, 12 to 4.
All in favor?
Aye.
And last is the increase in the tent size. You don't know what size tent it's going to be yet.
Well, I called Taylor Rental, and they said that all they have is a 40 by 100, they don't, or a 40 by 60, which we had last year. So I have to call around to another. We went through Redeker last year. He's out of Concord, I do believe. We were just looking for a local vendor to see if they are any cheaper. But actually, the local vendors were $1,000 more for all the rentals. So we're going to increase it a little bit, but it's not going to be the size of the food tent. That was a 40 by 100. So if we can find a tent in between 40 and 60 and 41 by 100, so we're looking at a 40 by 80, increasing it a little bit. We just don't know what the vendors have out there.
Because the permit's going to say what size the tent can be.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking, so.
Okay,
Just put a size not to exceed.
not to exceed, yeah.
Well, I don't want to do that, because if I say not to exceed 40 by 80,
And it's a 40 by 85 or
And you
something.
can't take the 40 by 80.
no, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that someone else has a tent, it's 30 by 80, or
Okay.
35 by 80, and so,
Okay,
but I'll make a motion that we have approve a larger tent, no larger than 40 by 80.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
So that will be the permit.
thank you. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, you're all set.
So, yeah, okay, so kids on Saturday under 21, it's 2 beer limit?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a problem.
All right, let's see. I had all the paperwork in, I just got the liability stuff just came in today, so I'll get a certificate of maybe the town separate, okay?
Yeah, we'll get-
Thank you.
It's gonna have to be updated, because right now, it just says from 4 PM on June 14th to 10:30 PM, and that's not what was approved, so.
Well, that's his request, but the actual permit will read the hours.
Okay, that's
Will read the hours that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the other part of the committee business.
Okay.
So I had sent over the Granby Charter Day regulations with a amendment on Article 7 to add the assistant treasurer. Just in case anything should happen to our treasurer, we have someone who can take over the duties of that. So that was Article 7. It was in the, I can actually give you guys, I think she gave you a copy, but just in case. And so underneath Article 7, letter D, it just goes over the assistant treasurer's expectations.
That's the only change, Chris?
Yeah, everything else was already approved, so we just add the assistant treasurer.
I'm ready to make a motion when you allow it. If you're ready to allow it, I'll make the motion to approve.
Let's see what Glenn has to say.
What happens if the treasurer and assistant treasurer aren't available?
Well, right now we only have a treasurer, so we are hoping that if anything were to happen, that the assistant treasurer would take over. So right now we only have one person to fall back onto. So we're
Right.
hoping by adding this position, we'll have the next person. I mean, Linda Fish has been the treasurer for I don't even know how many years, and she's done it by herself, but as she gets older, you know, we just, anything can happen. So we need to have someone to step in case she can't do it. So she was gonna help the assistant treasurer as far as navigating through what he has to do. And our assistant treasurer, once this gets approved, making a motion for Dakota Richards to be our assistant treasurer.
I don't have an issue with it. I was just wondering if it'd be, you know, the assistant, maybe the chair should be in there too. Just, not that anything could ever happen, but it sounds like if something ever did happen, technically no one can handle the money.
Right.
So just trying to, not that, you know, we've been pretty fortunate for the past many years, but I'm just wondering if we're gonna look at changing something now, so really look at, so it's protected down the road where we can add in, you know, even,
You know, then the vice chair and the chair. Their chain of command would be above those two if you wanted to.
right.
Make it more easier on Krista. That's up to you.
So adding on D, that should the treasurer and the assistant treasurer not be able to perform these duties, the chair can step in?
Yes.
Okay,
More latitude for you,
okay.
unless you have something against it.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
We're just fine, yeah.
chair, co-chair.
I just don't want any, so if someone's available to technically take the money, take charge of the money, so. That's all.
Okay, I can do that.
It could be any available board member
Okay.
at that point.
So would I put that as like a letter E? Should the treasurer or assistant treasurer not be available, any board member can step in to take care of the funds of the committee? Okay,
I don't know if you need an assistant treasurer, is what I'm saying.
okay.
You have a treasurer, and if the treasurer can't perform
Oh, I
those
see what you're
duties,
saying.
anybody in the board can, with the approval of the board.
Engage.
Right. And I'd go right down the line from the chair to the vice chair. Yeah. See, because you're not gonna need an assistant assistant treasurer.
I think what we were thinking as a committee was we don't know the ins and outs as far as to make deposits and like the different forms she has to use and stuff. So to train someone to know how to do it is what we were asking her to do because she doesn't plan on staying in there forever. So kind of shadowing her. Okay. Okay.
Treasurer to do that. Just part of the board, everybody knowing on
Yeah.
the board what the other person does, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be my recommendation, that way you're protected. No other issues.
assistant treasurer was recommended by the treasurer of the town to have the assistant treasurer on the committee, so that was the only reason why we added that on here.
But I think for the point, though, if the treasurer wasn't the treasurer's not available, then according to this, you don't have anybody else that can actually take charge of the money, take responsibility, because that's. But now you would have any board member would be able to do so.
Now, would it be an appointed board member? Because we have 9 voting members. So any of the 9 could
Well,
take over, or would you?
I just go down as,
Co-chair?
right, the
Okay.
chair, vice chair to the secretary, and that'd be it. So those are the. And if all 4 of you are not available, then something bad's happened. That's just my take on it, so I don't know if the other board members feel the same or not, but.
That makes sense.
If it makes sense, I'll go along with it.
Okay. So I can make a motion to approve these, but as amended from this board. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I will second.
Well, yeah, I haven't got that
Oh, I
far
thought
yet.
you had.
I'm just telling you what I'm about to do. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the Granby Charter Day regulations with the exception of removing Article 7, Section D, the Assistant Treasurer, and input to Section 7 in regards to, I would say, Part C where it says Treasurer or any, or board member, or actually we'll say treasurer, chair, vice chair, and recording secretary.
Any other officer of the committee.
Oh, yes, there are officers, right. So we can say it that way, makes more sense. The treasurer or any other officer of the committee.
You ready, Glenn?
Yes.
I'll second Glenn's motion.
All in favor? Aye.
And the other things I had sent was the trailer trash contract for Friday night. They will be playing on June 14th with your approval from 8 to 11 p.m. And we also have Perry Perez Acoustics, who is another band. They both played last Friday, and they were very successful. They brought in a big crowd on top of the truck poles as well. That brought in a good crowd on the other side of the park. So we were going to have them for one more year and see if they draw the crowd again. So we had Perry Perez for Friday night. He would be starting at 4, playing till 7:30, breaking down, and then Trailer Trash would go on from 8 to 11. So I attached both contracts. Kathy has copies there. I think.
I'll make a motion that we approve the performance contracts for, is it Perry Perez?
Yeah.
Okay, and also trailer trash, as indicated.
All in favor? Aye.
The Mass Truck Pulling Association, we had a meeting with them, or they came to our meeting, I should say. There are some changes to their contract because they have a new gentleman in charge. So last year they cost $4,000. This year they're looking for, $5,500. So they're increasing their price $1,500. Because their sled broke, so they need to rent a sled from Clark Sled Rentals in order to have the truck pulls. The committee was concerned about the increase in the $1,500. He said he could take off the street legal diesel and the street legal gas, but the problem was there's people in the community that are the ones that pull, that are from Granby, that pull in those classes. So we'd be getting rid of their prize money and therefore taking them out so that they wouldn't be able to pull. And it would only save us $500 if he did that. So it would be $5,000 instead of $5,500. So our goal is to go around to the truck dealerships like Marcotte Ford and see if they could possibly sponsor a portion of that to try and pick up the cost or the extra cost. But Mass Truck Pulling Association puts it on their agenda at the beginning of the year, and they're putting out their calendar this month, at the end of this month. So if we don't get them now, I don't know that we'll be able to get them later.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
If the committee
It just means we
feels-
pull from somewhere else if we don't get a sponsorship. So instead of paying for a big band on Saturday, we don't have the big band, we pay for a cheaper band, is where we pull the money from.
Well, we're gonna be signing contracts for both bands, so.
Well, for Friday nights, we haven't worked on Saturday or Sunday schedules yet.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, Trail Trash is Friday night?
yeah.
Yeah.
We just had our meeting. That I don't know. It's my first time asking for sponsorships from a truck dealership, so I don't know. Whoever's in charge is who I want to speak to.
If you go to Sarah Ford, ask for Jeff.
Sarah
I
Ford.
can give you his cell number later if you want it.
Okay.
And if you go to Marcotte,
Talk to the owner, Brian, and tell him I sent you.
Okay.
And then, if not his son,
Steve who?
no, they won't say that. Neither one of them will.
Sarah has 3 dealerships,
Okay.
and Jeff is in the Agawam one, Jeff Sarah. And
Or-
I'll give you his.
Or if you think it'd be advantageous, if I can make it, I'll go up there with you.
Whatever choices to you, either way.
There's no hours listed here? As far as the start time and finish time? Just says approximately 4 hours. What are you looking for hours?
So they're supposed to finish by 10 the latest, which is what Chief Woodchart and I had spoke to about last year when we met after the event, because they didn't break down to what, 10:30?
I don't remember the exact time, it's probably something like that.
Yeah, so they had too many participants that year, or didn't start on time, that's what it was. They got, something happened and the track wasn't ready in time, so they started later than they were supposed to, which backed up the time later. Nobody complained about the noise, but they're loud trucks. I mean, especially when you get down to the street legal, they're loud trucks. So we're asking that they end no later than 10 p.m. So, I mean, they can start right out, as soon as they're set up and ready to go. So if we want to do they're saying here 4 hours. So they would have to start at 6.
Yes.
So I can write on here no later than 6 p.m. to start. I mean, I would prefer them to start at 5:30. That way they're done by 10, the latest, because that also pulls the officers from going over to the other park and shutting down the other side of the park for 11, so.
Tell us, it's your committee. So start them earlier. I mean, that's your choice.
Put 5 to 10.
5 to 10?
5 to 10.
Okay.
Well, the contract says, approximately 4 hours, so.
So 5 to 10 would cover if they
Yeah.
go a little bit over, and they'll still be done before 10. Yep.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for the 2019 truck pulling for Charter Days 2019 with a start time of around 5 p.m. and to end at 10 p.m.
I will second Glenn's motion.
All in favor? Aye.
10 or
No later than 10.
End at 10. So, you want to go no later? Well, let's end at 10. I think it's 10 o'clock. This should be done. So,
And the last one is the American Thunder fireworks. We received it from, Richie put an ad in the paper. We received it from American Thunder Fireworks. And they're actually giving us more shells this year than they did last year for the $6,000 that we're asking for. Last year, we also had an extra $2,000 for the 250th. And this is the end of the 250th, so I don't know that we can get another $2,000 sponsorship to end off the 250th, so we're just gonna keep it at the $6,000 like we normally do. So it's a total of 562 shells.
Who changed the time from 10 o'clock to 9:30?
That was the committee because 10 o'clock's too late for the younger kids. I mean, it's dark by 9:30 the latest, so we don't want to keep the kids up too late. And we have a rain date of Sunday, if it rains on Saturday.
Okay, but with this contract, was it Warren or something like that, on the bottom of it?
Yep,
Okay.
Warren Pierce, yep.
Yeah. When you have a typewritten contract and one party changes it, you have to have both parties initial it so they agree upon it.
Where does it
Right here.
say 10 o'clock? Okay.
You can use the contract
it.
as long as both parties are willing to initial the change in the contract.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you know, what side changed it.
Well, Richie said he told him 9:30 and the guy agreed, but they put 10 on the contract, so.
Well, I'm just saying, as far
Yeah.
as legal contract law, you got to initial it.
Okay. Now, would I have American Thunder if they want to send this over with the
9:30 time?
9:30
That's
time?
perfectly
That would
fine.
be, okay.
It's perfectly fine. We just want to make sure the liability is covered.
Because last year it was 9:30 as well, so.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that our days allowed into a contract for fireworks display with the American Thunder Fireworks, 196 Park Street, North Reading, Mass. 01864, for the amount of $6,000.
With a performance time of 9:30.
With a performance time of 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, June 15th, with a rain date of Sunday, June 16th at 9:30 p.m.
I will second Glenn's motion as read.
All in favor? Aye.
That's it for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's per hour. As long as she sits, the more we can pay.
What was that?
As long as she sits here, the more we gotta pay the consultant. So if we can do it next week, we can cut the bill. That's what I'm saying. Your choice.
Where are we on the agenda?
And that would be number 5 on new
And
business.
they're already here, these people?
Yeah, she's sitting right there.
Let's accommodate.
That's what I mean, save some money.
Huh?
Save some money.
Okay, what was that?
Save some money.
Oh, okay. Gonna have a little change in venue here for a second. What's her last?
You just read off the FY19 Green Community Grant, and I'll just have Jill
Is
come.
she gonna come and do it?
Yeah, she'll come up. Because we got to introduce her because she's replacing Ashley.
Go for it.
Okay. So you want to announce it, or you just want me to do it?
No, you can.
Okay. We're going to change here. We're going, on our agenda, we're going to the approve and sign the FY19 Green Community application. We have PVPC. We have Jill DeCourtney here from PVPC. You get the hot seat. And Chris has the attachment C. This is Jillian, but we call her Jill. She took Ashley's place, Ashley Eaton's place at PVPC, for doing the green community. And we give her all the information, and they have the format, they create the application for us. We do pay them for that as far as our administrative fees.
Thank you for coming. Wasn't aware that you were in the, you're waiting.
Yep. Anything you want to add, Joe?
No, we have, it's the same application that was done last year, just with the updated energy conservation measures, so
What's
should be.
the select board approved last meeting?
Can you review those again, Jim?
I can call the spreadsheet up and do it, yeah.
I have it here if you want to.
Okay.
So, yeah, here's the list.
This year, in the highway department, we're proposing to install a heat pump system. In the new library, we're going to install LED lighting, do a building retro commissioning like we did this year at the safety complex. We're also going to install a condensing boiler and a mandatory mass DEP holding tank since we don't have sewers. And we're going to install plug load controls, which is the Birch device, in the junior senior high school. Since they didn't give us the information on the lights in time, the committee changed it over. We're going to change their constant speed valves on their boilers to variable speed valves to save money. We're going to install new electronic boiler controls so they won't have manual controls, they'll be more efficient. And we're going to go through and insulate all the pipes, valves, and fittings of the junior senior high school. And the last item, we are going to put LED lights inside and out at the Dufresne's Park area. For a cost of $250,000 when you count the administrative costs. That's what the grant is worth, $250,000. I cut Chris a little short of his administrative fee that we got. We usually $20,000, we're only getting 18 this year because we're doing more work.
I'll make a motion. We allow our chair, Stephen Shinaki, to sign off into the certification of application, attachment C.
You gonna second the motion?
I will second the motion that Glenn has read.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yep. And I'll get you that remaining information. We'll talk tomorrow then next time.
Right here, I'm assuming.
And Kathy, with this, it goes with a spreadsheet with attachment A and attachment B, which I'll get you a copy of. This is just a signature sheet.
Bill?
They charge us $85 an hour. Saves money on food.
Can you introduce yourself for the audience? Bill Shaheen, I'm with the Conservation Commission. Good to see everyone this evening. Well, we have proposed amendments to our fee schedule. We haven't updated our fees since 2011. Kathy, did you give the folks a copy of our new agreement? Okay. Yeah, the gist of the administrative fee changes are on page 2.
Now, these fees are in line with the municipalities around us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Kath, did you also add on the advertising? Okay, thank you.
So that's a new fee you're putting in for advertising?
No, that was always part of the package, but we'd like to memorialize that in the formal document.
Okay.
How does this compare to the previous fees?
The previous fees, we actually had no fee for the RDA. Effectively, our RDA fee is $50. We add the 75 on for a site visit. And the reason we'd like to get the RDA fee is the state is now doing away with a lot of the NOIs, the notice of intents, which is the comprehensive permit, so they're trying to streamline things. So we used to get a lot of revenue out of the NOIs, but now with fewer NOIs, our revenue stream is down. So we'd like to actually make up for that by putting a RDA fee in.
Now, Bill, if your committee, which is the Conservation Committee, needs a consultant or something, are there provisions in yours to hire a consultant and let the applicant pay for it?
That is the 4453G language. We only utilize that on large projects, like large solar projects
you
or
do
big
have it in there
build-out.
for the
Oh,
town.
yes, oh, yes. That's actually a MGL, it's a Mass General Law.
Right, I just wanted, I didn't
Yes.
see it in here, that's
Okay,
why I
yep,
asked. I
yep.
didn't want to see the town get stuck with some money.
Yep, no. But our administrative fee account, we actually do utilize that for hiring an internal consultant. So we actually had an administrative consultant for some time. Right now, we're without one, and we're kind of behind the eight ball because we're somewhat delinquent on our permit filings and paperwork that comes out of the office, as evidenced by what I had just given you, Kathy, a few minutes ago. So we'd actually opt to hire somebody at a minimum wage, essentially, in the near future.
And does that come out of your revolving fund, or does that come out of the applicant?
That comes out of the application fee fund.
Okay.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. No general money goes toward that.
Okay.
It's section 4.62 that allows them to,
Okay. I was concentrating on page 2 where you had everything highlighted. Because I'm presuming the highlight is only your changes.
Yes.
Okay.
looking at A through H, so they've all, just in regards to how they compare to previous ones.
The B is accordance with the Mass DEP schedule for the resource area delineation. That's per lineal foot, I believe. 3 is the same as it was. The amendment of an order of conditions is 75. I believe that was also the existing fee. The extension's $100. Certificate of compliance was always $100. A little bit of a change to that. We're encouraging people to go for their COC after 3 years, which they're supposed to do. If for some reason they're delinquent, we've had people come for their COCs 18 or 20 years out. That becomes a real nightmare in terms of paperwork research. So we upped it to $200 in that event.
There's not a lot of fee changes, just
They're just minor. Again, we probably should have updated them more than once every 8 or 9 years. So we're kind of trying to catch up a little bit.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up, just so people understand, because there are a lot of things highlighted, but from what you just said, it sounds like you're only increasing 2 different things, that's it,
That's true,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
so. Which I think are reasonable.
It's just compatible with all the other municipalities around us.
So,
Sometimes people come in with a list of the fees in the other municipalities. That's why I asked you, because you didn't have a list, that's all.
No, none of these are out of line. They're all fair and equitable.
right, only looking to increase 2 of them, that's all. Everything else is staying the same, so. I'll make a motion that we approve this regulations governing fees and fee schedules as updated for the Granby Conservation Commission.
I will second Glenn's motion as read.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay, guys, all the best.
Have a good one, Joe. Thank you.
Chief Mitchell? Okay, so take
Make a
a,
motion that we take a recess for 5 minutes.
I'll second that motion.
I'm not used to the meeting being at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we shall resume our meeting. And our next on the agenda,
Fire department.
the old fire department.
I'll leave that back.
I figured that out.
Good evening. So I'm here today to request the appointments of some individuals. I did submit a sheet earlier today that has some of the background. 2 individuals I'm looking to have promoted to the position of call lieutenant, Tony Lozon and Gene Oz. Both of them are newer members to our department. Tony, although he is probably the newest of the members, has demonstrated himself a knowledgeable and experienced leader. He comes with many years of firefighting and supervisory experience and has quickly gained the respect and admiration of his peers. Gene, also another newer member, he's one of our full-timers, but he's been on the department for quite some time, mostly in the EMS role. He was recently given the responsibility of our new EMS coordinator, and in that short time, he's held the position. He's completely revamped our EMS program and is working on improving the turnaround time of getting ambulance back in service after calls, which is going to significantly benefit the community. He is also trained as an officer, so he has a lot of knowledge and experience that he brings. So I'm looking to bring those 2 up to a level to fill in some open slots that we have in our officer corps. Additionally, I'm looking at 3 EMS personnel. Nicole Gareffi, she's a resident living very close to the station who has recently completed her EMT schooling. She's been doing ride time with the ambulance and has shown much desire to be involved in the department. She's definitely shown a lot of enthusiasm. Erin Kerr David I'd like to make a per diem paramedic. She's a resident of South Hadley, living on Amherst Road, so right on the border of the town. And she's looking to join us. And Jose Morales, he's from Springfield. He comes highly recommended with strong paramedic skills.
Any of these appointments gonna cost the town more money?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
Well, is it gonna increase your department budget? by
No,
hiring?
no, these are, the per diems would fill slots as they come open, the overnights that we have. And any people we bring on is budgeted. They're not full-time members, they're not coming on filling a full-time role.
They work, they get paid.
Essentially, yes. And that's all budgeted in.
You currently have openings right now for lieutenant anyways, right?
Yes.
So it's not creating a new one.
No.
Right.
Filling slots. Right now, we have a void of 3 officer shifts, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, that are the lion's share of them has been picked up by Deputy Bruce Carpenter. But we certainly, can't expect him to take all 3 days every weekend, and I've been picking them up. We just have a void that we need to have filled.
How are the number of officers required determined? I don't know, the number of people you have, or?
Some of it's based on the number of people, some of it's the need of having to fill some of the officer roles on an on-call basis. So the way it works for us is lieutenants, captains, chiefs, basically we cover an overnight shift to be on call. That's one of the responsibilities and roles and expectations of being a lieutenant, being an officer. So, say, for example, Lieutenant Yvonne's night is every Wednesday. You know, that's his night, he's on call, so something happens, actually, he's Thursdays, excuse me. Yeah, but if call comes in, he would respond as a dedicated officer, so we know someone in charge is going to show up.
So basically, looking to increase your higher officer roles because as you said, Deputy Chief Carpenter and yourself are doing more than required because you're short people
No,
on your coverage for your assignments.
No,
Okay.
what I said is I'm looking to fill open slots.
Right.
And I'm looking to fill it with these two individuals.
Okay.
And I apologize they're not here this evening, everybody's training.
Okay. Right. When do you want these effective, Chief?
Tonight?
How about tomorrow?
I'm sorry?
How about tomorrow?
Sure, why not?
The only reason I say that so you can notify them they've been appointed, that's all.
Actually, when I'm done here, I'll be seeing him at training, but yes.
Okay. What is Jean's last name?
Oz?
Oz. Is it O-S or O-Z? O-S, okay. All right. So I'm gonna make a motion,
Say a word.
Oh, I thought you did.
I didn't say a word.
Yeah, I just thought you did, that's all.
Probably fucked up my vibes, going my thoughts.
Coming strong. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the chief's request to promote Tony Lozon to the position of lieutenant, Jean Oz to the position of lieutenant.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Do you want him appointed in that order, because that determines seniority?
Yes.
Where it's listed?
But I
Okay.
just want to make sure that that's
Okay.
the order he wants him appointed in, because
Okay.
it does seniority.
It does. Yes, it does. Nicole Garaffi to the position of EMT. Aaron Kerdavid to the position of per diem paramedic. And Jose Morales to the position of per diem paramedic. Effective March 19th, 2019.
I will second the motion. 12:01.
All in favor? Aye.
Before Chief Mitchell walks away. Last year, he had a mini pumper rescue vehicle, funding approved for $225,000. As a result of the firestorm that ensued after that vote, the board put a hold on the purchase of said vehicle. Chief Mitchell would like to have permission to pursue purchasing that vehicle, or lifting the halting of being able to purchase the vehicle effective tonight.
I'd like to take a look at all the capital expenses. For the simple reason, you would, at the last select board meeting, you were telling us on how much is in the till for this year. So I don't know what the priority is.
Well, he's already got funding approved from the last year's town meeting.
I understand that, but did something come up this year that's more of a priority than that? That's my question. I don't know.
Ability to stop the funding. It was voted to fund it.
I understand that.
We could just stop the expenditure, that's it.
We'd have to go back and change it with the people have to change it if we change it. If we don't, we don't. But I don't know what the big list you had at the last select board meeting, because I know we were talking about all the capital expenditures for this year. If there's something more higher priority than that, that's all I'm asking.
If you ask every department head, everything put in was a high priority.
I know. So what is the real answer? Everybody's number one.
Well, the funding is already appropriated.
That's,
I understand.
no, I realize that, but I mean,
Okay. Part of the reason Chief Mitchell is asking for permission to purchase said vehicle. He was talking with the manufacturer's rep today.
I did speak with him today, yes.
They have a vehicle that is already built with the features that Chief Mitchell and his apparatus committee spec'd out for the vehicle. It will be available within 60 days, fully operational. Okay? There is no other fire department currently interested in purchasing that vehicle. It is a demo vehicle that will be brought down to,
FDIC,
which means
Fire Department Instructors Conference.
in April.
Anything special if you buy it at the conference?
That's my next question.
Actually, don't laugh. I have actually witnessed it. People, departments will go down there and write a check on site for these apparatus.
I know, I wasn't being.
Well, we're
Yeah.
not going to allow him to write a check in that amount of money. I'll tell you that much right now.
No.
Is it less than we appropriated
What's that?
at town meeting?
Not
We
yet.
appropriated $225,000.
Or is it more?
He's, according to the chief, he says there's a few more features on it for the same price that we appropriated.
Yes, and that includes using Engine 3 as a trade-in, because it is more than the 225, but with trade-in and everything else, we're going to get it right down to that amount.
And Engine 3 is our worst vehicle.
No, it's the vehicle that is used the least. Engine 3 is, Engine 1 is the one you're referring to, which is what we'll be going to town meeting for this year. Engine 3 is our real truck that doesn't get used because we just don't supply water that way anymore in this town.
Engine 3 is the one we just rebuilt the engine on.
I know it is, it's cylinder number 5.
Right, it's just the real truck. That is a hose real truck. And it has pumping capabilities. That's about all it really has.
I'm just used to getting rid of the oldest, worst vehicle first. But I understand if there's difference in the vehicles, you got to take that into consideration. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, and Jay, I know you weren't in office at that point, so just to give you just a smidgen of history on it, we looked at many, many things in the town to include accessibility to certain areas in town. What we currently have in our inventory and you know what we use. And my job as fire chief is to be fiscally responsible and be a good steward of the resources. And I couldn't in good conscience stand in front of town meeting and say that Engine 3 was a truck worth maintaining when it doesn't get used. You know, nobody's going to see value in something that doesn't get used. And the town realized that and approved my request last year because we're intending on using this newer vehicle in multiple roles instead of having a specialty vehicle that only gets used for one thing and one thing only. And this vehicle is going to be essentially a rescue. It's going to be used for motor vehicle accidents. It'll be used for car fires. It can be used for brush firefighting. There's multiple uses for this thing, and that was what brought this around.
Will the multi-pumper take over the duties that Engine 1 could do or Engine 3 could do?
It's going to replace, it's going to take the place of what Engine 3 currently does in certain aspects. Engine 1 is a completely different beast. That is another matter. Right now, Engine 3 is solely used to lay up to a half a mile of 5-inch hose and to be hooked up to a water hole and pump water from one location to an incident. There's a lot of issues with that. One, half a mile really doesn't get me far in town. And in order for me to get the gallonage that I want from that truck, I would have to hook it up to 2 places on the truck at a water hole, and there's really 1, 2, 3 maybe water holes that I could do that with. The newer vehicle can act as, a lot of towns in the area are going to what's called vacuum tankers, which is what we have for our tanker. It'll siphon water very quickly right into the tank, and then you can go. But there are some towns that don't have that capability and require an external pumping source to fill the truck, which would be what the new vehicle would be able to do. It would be able to go to a water hole, hook up, and fill tankers that don't have the capability to vacuum suction like a lot of other apparatus.
If for some reason Engine 1 does not get approved at town meeting because of the expense, if you had a choice, would you rather have Engine 1 or Engine 3 here?
You're talking apples and oranges.
Okay. I'm just asking a
I'm
question.
you asked the question. I'm telling you that they're apples and oranges. And Engine 1, and this will be really not for tonight, but that truck is going to be a vehicle that's used to haul a lot of water and be able to initiate firefighting at the onset of an incident. That is a completely different animal than what this other vehicle is going to be used for.
This other vehicle maybe is a transfer vehicle.
No, it's more than that. It's a smaller fire truck, so it's going to reduce the size of the footprint of an incident area. We're going to be able to get it in areas in town that we really wouldn't get a traditional fire truck. There are certain properties on Munson Ridge that have driveways that are 15% inclines with switchbacks. Trying to get a traditional fire truck up there is going to be difficult at best. This mini pumper is what is another piece of what that is going to be used for.
Will it be more fuel efficient?
I would imagine so, considering it's a smaller truck.
It's carrying a heavier load.
And it's gas over diesel, so the maintenance will be a little easier, a little cheaper overall.
I don't see an issue allowing it to purchase it, especially if there's one already available. I mean, that's huge.
And if you're getting more for bang for your buck.
Right, but we didn't know that unless we asked. That's all
No, I'm just saying, we're getting.
The reason why I'm asking for this evening is because we have an opportunity, when we've spoken to several vendors, and the apparatus that we're looking at right now actually came to us as the dealer came out, the representative came out, and had not realized that we were looking for CAFs in our mini pumper, which was an important aspect. And in the midst of our conversation, he looked and saw in the inventory that they have a unit that's a demo unit. It's only been used for shows. It's only been out a couple of months. The problem is if I didn't approach the board tonight, this truck could get snagged up in the next couple of weeks before the next town meeting. And I'm looking for the ability that if the stars align and the planets are where they need to be, that we can grab this truck. Being a demo unit, we'll save some money.
So this truck has all the options that you're looking for
And then
and
some.
some?
Yes.
Okay.
For less amount than originally was requested.
But not for what was
No.
requested. The truck, what was requested was taken into consideration the trade-in value for engine 3, a bunch of other factors. The truck is going to be cheaper. Now, where that plays with the trade-in, I don't know. That's always been the wild card that we've been trying to figure out. And the manufacturer, the representative is actively working that right now. But he believes that with the Engine 3 trade-in, we're going to be right where we need to be.
And the only other caveat I put on that is,
I need a letter from the apparatus committee, signed by all members of the apparatus committee, that they agree with moving forward with the purchase.
So,
It's different than what was originally
Yes.
spec'd out.
yes, so I actually have the letter here, signed today by all but 2 of the members. Al Leone, who's on vacation, but I'm sure I could send him a text and he would have no issue with it. And Colin Mick, who's working this evening. However, I did get an email just essentially saying that he's good with it, but everybody else has signed this.
If he's present, I want his original signature.
I can, next time he's in, I can get that. I just know he's working tonight, so he's at Bay State Hospital working. Al Leone?
When does he do back, do you know, Chief?
By week's end. He's been gone since Friday and is sending pictures of warmer weather and pools and kind of giving it to us.
So I'll make a motion that we allow the chief to proceed with purchasing as indicated at the town meeting. But I would want, before a purchase agreement is completed, for all members to sign off on this.
No problem.
Okay?
Absolutely.
I will second Glenn's motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, you don't need that back.
There you go, chief.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Friends of Forge Pond, thank you for being patient with us.
What'd you say?
Hey, I didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock this morning, so I'm on overdrive.
I got up at 5 rather than 8:30.
That's when I went to bed this morning. It's fine.
So, we'd like to purchase a $350,000 houseboat for Forge Pond.
I'm selling my boat.
There you go.
I don't see that anywhere.
Anyway, we're here for several reasons, actually, and one of them is to inform everyone that Friends of Forge Pond Granby is now official nonprofit status, and we've received a confirmation from the state. And so we've done well with our small group. What would you say we have members now?
Probably around 30.
About 30 members, and with those 30 members, we raised about $1,200. And so we have used that to get the status that we have, the balance of like $95. Anyway, but so we're working hard. There's a lot of interest, and there's even a group of people, I guess they're Granby citizens as well as citizens in the neighboring community that do the ice fishing, and we're told they're called the ice holes. So that's really why they're part of this group, and I never even knew it existed, but That was kind of cute.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. So we wanted to let you know that, and we're looking to expand, the membership and whatnot. One of the things we wanted to do is to help develop a better relationship with the pond, with our community members, as well as to raise money to do what we have to do to improve Forge Pond and the area around it. Congruent with our goals that we wrote as a group. We were thinking about doing things like fishing derby, scavenger hunt, paddle with poetry, birding, different kind of events. And I had talked to Chris briefly about this, and he said, well, because the Conservation Committee owns the pond, but still one of our big questions was about safety for these kind of events. And so we wanted your perspective on that, like, is there something we should do because we're doing a fundraiser on the pond or to do with the pond, like, such as have a policeman there or EMT or lifeguard or, I don't know. We wanted to cover ourselves.
We would just defer that to the safety complex, the police chief and fire chief if they thought it was necessary.
For their judgment?
So
Yeah.
when we're ready to do this event, we would approach them and ask them for the safety concerns that we would need to take on? Is that what that works?
You'd agree?
The liability the town may
Yeah.
have.
The liability the town has?
Well, if you're holding an event such as a fishing derby, and
That was my thought.
yeah, so a lot of that property around there is private property. So if someone's on someone's property, if someone gets hurt, and it's a town sanctioned, if you will, event, how would that play into the liability to the town, Chris?
Good. Very well.
Yeah,
Or hurt, even if they get injured on our property.
right.
Now, the only property we have is the actual dam itself, right?
We own Forge Pond.
A forest
The
pond.
Emily,
Pond.
the Emily Artica Conservation Area.
Right, okay.
But the town owns that, not the Conservation Committee?
It's in the name of the conservation, but it is the town who purchased it, yes. But it's still under the conservation name. It's a conservation area.
So I guess if there's ways that you would be looking to raise money, generate revenue, also I think we'd have to look as far as how to protect the town as far as liability. So I don't know if an insurance rider or something could be taken, and I would imagine a lot of places that host derbies, like a fishing derby at certain ponds, they must do that as well. I wouldn't know all the ins and outs, but I can imagine they are doing that, because if someone's going to host one somewhere, there's got to be a liability piece involved.
Now, in the past, there's been fishing derbies at
Dufresne's?
Dufresne's. So I was just wondering what had been done with that.
Yeah, I assume they would be.
The conservation, and also,
Oh, not a private organization, or not a nonprofit?
Conservation
It's
that's
been,
hosting it.
so the Conservation Commission puts together a fishing derby on,
They do it for Charter Day, they have it within Charter Day, so they're sponsoring again town event.
so they can they do that on the pond, on Forge Pond? Can they do something like that? Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, because if
Okay.
they could do it, then maybe we could go through them on that.
So
Okay.
I mean, our goals are not to be, our goals are to be congruent with everybody,
Right.
not to, we're not.
Work with.
Yeah,
Right,
work
right.
with and help out, and, so that's kind of where the thing is going.
So our best line of action would be to talk to the Conservation Commission about those ideas, those things? Okay.
it's the governing body for it.
Okay.
I know in Dufresne's Park, the Parks Committee handles it because it's a park. So the Parks Committee has that, but Forest Pond is just conservation area, right, Kathy? So it wouldn't be falling to the parks at all. That's why I'm asking the question.
Right.
I think there's still part of it
Okay,
is under them as well, but not, I don't think the pond itself.
okay.
They still oversee everything.
They still oversee everything.
So the Parks Commission oversees everything?
Yeah, Kathy would know, she's on the committee. That's why
Okay.
that's why I'm looking at her asking. And they do rent out, they have a revolving fund, just like you see us sign off the stuff for Dufresne's Park. They use the money that comes in from here to maintain the park. That's how they do it, right, Kathy?
So is there something like that for Forge Pond, or does that fall under Forge Pond, or under the parks? It all falls under the same?
Yep.
Okay.
Just like you heard earlier, and people want to use this, they want to use that, they have to get permission. They have to show if it's a charge, or there's a, like when Charter Day was in here, they had all the liability insurances to get signed off and stuff like that before the town would approve them to use it or do the function.
Okay. So we would want to talk to you at one of your meetings, and then the Conservation Commission, or would it just
Okay, because you're using Forge Pond itself, I would go to conservation first.
first, and then go to you guys? Okay, okay.
Well, we'd have to go through by way of the boat launch. But I thought in Massachusetts, you can't own a pond or the land underneath the pond. I had heard that the last, it was something like in the 60s, there's a pond in Athol that it was, I don't need to tell you the whole history, but something, it was kind of like this camp thing, almost like you do condo or something, and they all bought into it, and they all own the pond, and they own the land underneath it and stuff, and so the community can't use the pond, even though they're dying to use this particular pond, but they can't use it because people own the pond. But supposedly after that, there's this thing where you can't own the land underneath the pond. I just don't know if that has any bearing on what we're asking for in terms of legality, you know? I don't know. It's interesting, though. I guess I never thought of that otherwise.
It sounds like that's something for the Friends of Forge Pond to find out.
So we're, yeah. Thanks.
What were they again?
Yeah. Oh, my, so many things. The other thing is we were looking for places to do activities, bringing awareness to the pond and the creatures and so on that goes on there, and also to develop the membership and to raise a little money. And so I had explored with Chris a little bit on that. We're meeting at the police station now. That's starting. But in terms of activities, we were looking to use the old library. We thought that would be good for April activities when the kids are on April vacation. Dory and I are both teachers. She's active. I'm retired. Anyway, I tried to make that happen today, and I was told it would be best to use the new library. But the librarian told me, because I had done some book presentations there and different things, and I had asked her about the Forge Pond, and she said that something to do with her or the contract of the library or something, that the library can't be used for fundraisers.
Do we know anything about that, or
So
how we could find
in other
out?
words, I went around a whole circle, came
They
back.
have their own library commissioners. I'd have to look and see what.
Yeah.
See, like Dufresne's has a charter what it can be used for. The library has their own trustees, and they have their own rules, because a lot of that was done through donations.
So I think the issue was to eliminate getting a key in that arrangement, would be just to use that, but she already told me no, so I just felt like I went around and I came back to the same spot.
I need to see what that contract says.
Right. That's the whole thing, we don't know.
Okay.
She
So-
seemed to know.
Well,
So,
she's on the trustees of the
right,
library.
right, so I was thinking, well, can't we just do the old library? I don't know who's supposed to answer that question. I think it was Kathy Leonard that called me.
Right, I thought we would open it up to anybody else
Yep.
using it, to
Right.
anybody outside the town departments. We said no to everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've never rented that out or that. So it's just town departments, it's mostly all committee hearings at nights.
Right.
You
So
have
we're
any
kind
other
of limited
suggestions?
what we can use
Mm-hmm.
to do this. You guys aren't making our jobs very easy.
Yeah, you're not really making us feel
They don't make
supported.
it too easy on us.
What type of
So we're trying to promote
And
some
when?
awareness of the pond and
We're-
bring in some community, involvement.
They're painting birdhouses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One of the
have-
things we have planned is an activity where parents can bring their children in to paint some birdhouses, and we charge them a small fee, and that's our fundraising. It's like a fundraising activity that involves the kids in looking at.
We're supplying the wood and the labor and making all the birdhouses.
So they would be painting them and things like that, and we would be kind of putting ourselves out there with information about our organization and what we want to do for the pond.
I mean, you might want to check in with the school committee.
To
Didn't
use
you
the
do that?
school? That's what I was thinking too.
The issue that may be is they're looking at their school
Hang on a second.
They're looking at during school vacation.
That means you're gonna bring somebody in, the school's gonna charge them.
Yeah.
What about
Well,
the,
might be, but depending on what the cost could be, I mean, there's still janitors there during school vacation, things like that, but it's worth a conversation with them.
quick trying. And the police station for activities such like that, the Boy Scouts use it, I guess. They must do activities there.
I know they have meetings.
Yeah, it's on, just no meetings. You may even want to,
Ask Gal.
so you're nonprofit,
Right.
so you might even want to check with the Legion. I know they rent out their top part there for, I think it's a minimal charge, but, I mean, you're nonprofit, you may want to, talk to the gentleman that was actually just here not so long ago, and see
Yeah.
if there's something they can do for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's a
how
nice
about,
sized space
how about
there.
Kellogg Hall?
That's not under us.
That belongs to historical.
No, but you think we have a good chance if we ask
they
them
wouldn't
to
know.
use their room?
They wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, okay.
You can ask them, just like the same thing I'm talking about as far as
The school, yeah.
committee and as well as the American Legion.
The churches.
Yeah, we thought about that.
We thought about that, we were trying to keep the church thing separate
Yeah.
for different reasons.
No, I understand
Different
that, but-
participants.
They have,
know.
they both,
Have space
they have space.
Yeah, thank you.
to
Yeah.
utilize.
Inside and out.
So-
Particularly the Catholic Church, they have that field down back, which a lot
Yeah.
of people use.
Right,
With that gazebo and stuff.
Yep.
okay.
So the last thing we wanted to talk about was how it was going. Do we have the trees, cutting down thing going on, or the Phase 2 study or anything in progress with the pond? Do we have any kind of time?
Usually gotta wait until they can put a truck in on the property.
No truck that can get in there.
It's too wet.
Sorry, it's the mud season right now.
Okay, so,
They ain't gonna move in on that
Is
factor.
there a mud season?
Yes, there is.
If you live
Look
on
at
the
my
property,
yard.
yes, we
Look
can-
at my yard at home. It's mud season, believe me.
If you don't think so, Glenn, I'll drive
Yes,
my
there's
car
a-
across your lawn right after that.
it's a public vote now. So we're kind of at a stalemate with, as far as progress on that goes. Okay,
Yeah, the money's been appropriated, but you can't do anything yet.
right,
It is in progress.
It's
Yeah,
just like the streetlights.
yeah.
They're changing all the streetlights out to LED, but they stopped doing it because the snow has to melt and
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that before they can
yeah.
do it.
Imagine in a couple months that the ground firms up some.
Want to ask about the
Yeah, and
grants?
Jay, you were talking about grants, we were doing some, talking
I've
about
been looking for grants, and to be perfectly honest with you, from what the research I've done, unless the dam is producing energy or it's there for health and safety reasons, the state is recommending take them all down.
So, the problem is that we're also using it for wells. I mean, it's not just there's a huge amount of wells that are derived from that water.
I don't have an answer.
From that water
for
table, yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The water table is so high in Granby, I don't honestly have an answer. because I'm not going to mislead anybody, but I did meet with the lieutenant governor last week, and that was part of the conversation on municipal vulnerability preparedness, is if the dam is not producing any energy, or if it's not holding back water for health and safety reasons, they just as soon pay the town to take them down.
Well, wouldn't it be considered a health reason to, if we lose our wells?
They could just turn around and say, dig a deeper well.
We can't. Most of Granby can't dig a deeper well. We have like a bedrock underneath our.
Right.
Our,
I know, that's part of the problem, like
We'd
we
have to
did
do a
Article
class
6
action
as far as
suit.
water.
Yeah, I was
You know,
gonna
bring
do.
an alternate water source in. We
say
don't-
that one more time.
That's why we went forward with Article 6 to bring an alternate water source in, because of the type
Right.
of soil that we have with the bedrock, that people are having issues. But as far as before the state does anything or they mandates it, because as far as I know, the dam is listed as critical, right, Chris? As far as repairs?
Poor condition.
Poor
Yeah, it's
condition.
not
critical.
Okay,
It's not critical.
okay, it's poor.
And poor based on a lot of factors that no maintenance or maintenance schedule for years.
The
Okay,
vegetation growing on the walls and the inability to be able to get to the bottom of the spillway in order to investigate that part due to the vegetation and the woody vegetation.
right, and that can't be done until that's done.
Yes, yes.
So the town has appropriated the money to do that, but the season right now is not doing anything. But I can tell you, I've been looking for grants of any type, and in the state, like I said, if it doesn't produce energy or it's not for health and safety reasons, they're actually willing to pay municipalities to take them down and let them be free-flowing. And I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm just telling you what the discussion is, because they're worried about all the stormwater drainage going to be in the future with climate change. They want it to run, to keep it going. They don't want to have all these dams holding it back and then overflowing, and when there's no need for the dam.
I'd also suggest the Friends of Forge Pond to reach out to the state rep, the state senator, and you know, truly voice your concerns.
Yeah, Eric Lesser or Eric Lesser's the senator, Dan Carey is the House representative, and then you got Mindy Dole. I think Mindy's on their side, isn't she?
Cindy Don would be their rep.
Yeah, she's on that side of it.
Because you're on the north side of 202. The other one's on the south side of 202.
I think it's worth it to reach out to them and at least have a conversation about things. And
I know there's so many different perspectives.
Right, right. But when I was looking at some of the same grants, I think that you were probably talking about, there's, I know that it's, it can be used for both. It's a choice, whether or not to restore your dam or take your dam down. You can apply for the same grants based on what you want to do for that
It depends
property.
on the condition of the, you see, a grant always comes with conditions. They never give you something for nothing. They want something back in return. So unless I look at the grant and see what the conditions are, I can't make a statement general. Because sometimes, to be honest with you, the grants just are not worth it for what they want in return.
Right.
I mean, really. Depending on what they're going to give you, I'll give you an example, like an EV charger grant. You don't realize how much paperwork we have to do with Mass DEP, but they're only paying half the cost, and the thing only costs $6,000 to begin with.
Yeah.
So we're doing all that work for $3,000.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, is that really worth it?
yes.
Yeah, as long as I'm the one that's doing it.
Well, the condition of the dam would, if a lot of the stuff was taken care of, because they don't just, it's not just about the dam. It's about the whole piece. So our marks are low because nothing has been done for years. And, the dam itself, I'm not an engineer, but it's not going anywhere.
That's why
We would have to have an earthquake of a pretty sizable magnitude to even perhaps shift it to turn it into a little waterfall.
let's hope that doesn't happen.
I think we need that report.
Yeah.
Find out after, which the town is paid for the report and paid to have all that foliage removed, before we could do an honest evaluation for an answer.
Yeah. Part of the bad report, the bad mark was that the town doesn't have a maintenance schedule. In other words, the town doesn't have any evidence of interest or taking care of it or history.
Well, I wouldn't say they don't have any interest.
Not, yeah, I
They just
wouldn't
don't-
say
they
that either,
just-
but.
They don't have
not
any
in
money,
terms of
that's
paperwork.
what it comes down to.
Yeah,
I mean,
not in terms of paperwork, which is what they always like to see.
we can always take money from Dave DeRoche's budget here, I mean, you come to that.
That's one reason why I really mentioned to reach out to the state rep
Yeah.
or the state senator, because there may be some things they can do, or
Right.
Right.
there's monies available throughout the state for certain different things, and, you know, obviously, you know, working with their offices, you might find out something, or they may know something. It seems, you know, cities and towns usually get some of the things that they didn't think they were available to get, and they were able to get after, you know, doing some homework with our state legislators, so.
Okay.
But even in the state and the federal environmental departments, I know I've looked on there, and there's a lot less there than there used to be, as far as doing stuff. But because they're moving towards climate change and so on, and spending the money there. Like, for example, for energy resiliency, which I didn't plan on getting into, the state's gonna give out $2.4 billion for that. So if they're gonna give out $2.4 billion for energy resiliency, in other words, putting batteries where solar is to make them good for 24 hours, they're taking that money from somewhere. It's just not freely appearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Well, thank you.
I wish we could do more, but I mean.
Yeah, I wish you could too.
We'll keep your ears open.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, you know, like I said, the state legislature, like they say, and all I do is keep track of the state and federal websites for grants.gov or mass.gov and the grants.
Let's go.
I mean, wish I could find something.
Have a nice dinner.
You too.
I'm hungry.
We didn't sign on the line, or you're supposed to sign.
Well, then give it to me. Well, I signed it.
He signed where you put the sticker, sign here. Yeah,
Well,
and he didn't put it on the line that he was supposed to sign it.
sign here. I'm gonna sign there. I follow instructions the best I possibly can, but
But it says,
I don't care what it says sign here.
signature of chief elected officer, not down here, it's
Well, then
here
she
on the
should be
line.
putting it there. I'm sorry.
I sent you a copy of that already.
So you're
right?
gonna blame Kathy?
Okay.
Yes, I am. Damn straight.
How's Dave today?
Good, good.
Glad
I
to hear.
appreciate you guys letting me come in a little late for the budget hearing. We were working with Mass Highway Association on mutual aid for DPWs across the state and trying to develop a plan to make it a little better because the state sort of dropped the ball on that a few years ago. No, mutual aid. So like the fire department does for assisting one another. DPWs are really bad at it. We don't have a process in place to share easily, and we're working on that. We're creating, yeah. We don't do it all the time, that's probably the reason, but.
You don't break down all the time?
No, we sort of handle our own problems, you know, we're used to being isolated and working alone, but we're trying to, with technology, make that a little better, along with that app that we showed you the other day, for disasters, to make it a little easier to manage.
Like the one we presented?
Yes, yes. Where do you want to start? Questions?
From the beginning.
From the beginning?
Do a brief overview of your budget, and if we have questions, I'll ask.
Sure. The biggest driver on the budget increases are obviously labor. In the last few years, it's pretty much the biggest constraining factor, I guess, factoring in the 2% raise increases and any step increases due to the employees. Had one guy pass his hoisting license this year, so we raised him up a little bit. So we've made those adjustments in the salary side.
Are you gonna need more people with the new requirements that you've got coming with stormwater, or how does that look?
We've had more operators in the past, licensed people. It's a lot easier when we have a few more guys because it means that I don't have to be out there running a machine all the time, and it gives us a little bit more flexibility. But yes, if we do it in-house, and I think there's a substantial savings to be had by doing the catch basin cleaning in-house. I almost fell off my chair when I looked at the county bid this year for vac trucks, and it's $220 an hour. So it doesn't take very long to run up a big bill, and we have to clean every basin in town and keep them under 50% full, basically, which we cleaned 500 last year, and from the data we collected, I think we're going to have to clean about 700 a year to keep them under that 50% full.
So that's once plus.
Once plus, but again, I don't have good record keeping on
You
that.
just started.
Because we just started collecting the data as far as the percent full.
Yeah.
So it's still a dart at the wall trying to quantify those numbers. So basically, the last few years, we really didn't spend a lot of those line items that we prepared for, Chris and I, over the last couple of years, because this storm permit was supposed to be in place last year, and it got looked at by a court, and they put a stay on it. It's supposed to be in effect now. There's still some gray areas, like the annual report. Typically, my annual report, if you remember signing it around this time of the year for storm phase 2, but with the new permit, I guess the reporting period now is September. So I'm being told that we don't owe them 2 reports in 1 year, so we're just going to give them the one in September. But again, there's very little clarity on a lot of the transition from the old permit to the new permit here. So I guess, like I said, big driver is the labor.
I don't want to interrupt you too much, David.
Yep.
We also, for next year, are budgeting an extra position.
Yes, but it's not,
But I'm just saying,
yep.
in the request is another operator position.
Yeah, I'll jump into that in a minute here. Chris and I had talked about that as well. And part of the problem was every time we try to hire somebody, it's usually under duress. Like it seems like it's always the case just before November, and we can't go into a winter season shorthanded because we have so few trucks and operators on the road now. We need it. All of our full-time people running equipment. So by doing this, if the right person would come along, we might be able to entice them to come to Granby. But again, there's no one, we aren't advertising right now or anything like that, but it's, I guess if we hear of a person that is looking, that has the skills we're looking for with a lot of experience. In the past, we've hired people with very little experience and got them their licenses, trained them, and then they move on. So I'd like to break that cycle, if you will, and try to hire somebody with experience in the future, so they hit the ground running. But again, I don't know how successful we'll be, and that would be a thing that Chris and I guess, will have to discuss if we do see somebody.
If we're gonna look to approve a new position, then I would hope we're gonna advertise for it right away.
I wasn't planning on advertising for it immediately, but I mean, if you wanted to do that, I mean, we could do that.
I guess if it's gonna be approved for your fiscal year,
FY '20.
FY '20, however, you could advertise for it sooner than later with a start date of July 1st, 2019.
But what happens if it doesn't get approved at town meeting? He's done all that work for nothing. That's all I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying after that, though. After his budget is approved.
Oh, okay.
And with the new new position.
I would prefer to put the feelers out first, though. I mean, I have a lot of contacts all around that from construction people, from DPWs, and just see if there's anybody out there that is looking.
Looking for a change.
And then, if that doesn't work, then proceed from there.
I guess I'm more putting out to advertise it to the general public, and if some of those people that feelers, they're welcome to apply. You know, I don't like the idea of we're kind of researching it, putting the money there, then we kind of have some people in mind that we're thinking about hiring. I don't like that.
Well, I think
take on it.
In the past, we've always opened it up. I mean, even when we had openings, we do advertise it and put it out. I mean, it's not like it's, yeah, exactly. There's going to be an interview process that'll go through.
I just don't know, I guess I would think you could probably, you know, I would hope you'd have interest where you can try to get the best person for the position you could, if given a little bit of time to.
Part of the problem is our salaries are way too low. I mean, most of the other communities, the operators are much higher than what we're offering, and it's going to be hard to find somebody with experience.
What are some of the other communities offering? I mean, not offering, but what is their pay? I would ask, what is someone like their pay scale?
New Salem, I just got one in from New Salem, $23 an hour.
Did you?
Looking for someone on the highway crew with a hoisting license, with a A or B CDL.
That's almost our mechanic rate, which is our top rate.
But I'm just saying, but you're looking at all that.
Yeah.
Then it was $23 an hour.
It's hard to find anybody under 20, and our rates are under 20 in the mid-range.
Especially, I want to bring someone aboard, then we train them, then they take that and they go somewhere else, and they, so we better off.
It's been a very difficult. I've had some good operators that have left. I mean, we've had some really, really quality people that have come, not stayed long because of the salary.
But that's what I'm asking, if we're looking for certain qualifications, is it feasible to look at increasing the money for that position a little bit, so you're getting the qualified person you want, plus that person may stay a little bit longer, or stay?
That falls under the personnel board. And the personnel compensation plan. That's the compensation plan that's approved every annual town meeting. So if you're looking to buck that up, then the whole scale has to go up accordingly.
Just seems, you know, we're hiring someone and we're getting them trained and everything, and then to turn around, they're taking that knowledge and that training to somewhere else where they're being compensated more. And we're back to the drawing board again.
But that's the problem we're going into. Unless you're willing to raise the scale probably close to 10%, you're not going to get anywhere near those type of rates.
The equipment operators are the hardest to really fill. That position is, and with construction booming right now, it's going to make it even more difficult.
You see, I was planning it at 1924 now.
Well, we also have retirement benefits and the insurance that goes along with it, so you don't get laid off, which is a lot of the construction areas too, so. But I just go back to, I think if, you know, the more time given to advertising it, the better, but I mean.
We will meet our equal opportunity employer requirements, yes.
Okay.
So that is part of the, I guess, more significant increase that you see in the labor side of the numbers under wages. The material side, basically, we've been leaving alone to try to stay within the requirements of the 2%, but another big item that is skewing that this year, if you look at the total, the bottom line totals, is we put the police details under my budget this year again, which is a large chunk. It's 18,000. That was never in my budgets before.
So if you need a police officer, the time and money is charged against your department.
It's charged against my department now.
Yep. Versus before, it used to be just charged against the police.
Correct.
The town pays a different rate. They pay the same rate.
Same rate as what? The school.
Anybody else who requires a detail?
Are all towns and cities like that? I thought they had a discounted rate for if it's a.
We did have a discounted rate at one point in time. The town details only paid 75% of the, whatever the rate was. However, the police union had a problem with that because the rate we were paying was less than time and a half of their regular rate. My answer was, don't take the detail. But then they argue, well, you're taking money out of our pocket, you're keeping it to a select few, and you should be paying us our time and a half for road details. So that sort of disappeared in the last contract.
Usually,
And we can put it back in. Their contract's coming back up for negotiation.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, no, that's something that when you're in town and it's a town detail.
they don't care. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be that blunt.
But the police union does not care. I'm sorry, but that's the way they are.
I believe what Chris says, they have a choice of either take the detail or not. I mean, there's not it's not a given that you have to do time and a half.
That's for another day. When their contract comes up, that's for another day, so.
It is.
I was just curious, because I know, I thought in the past that's how it was, so.
It was 75%.
Of what the regular rate would have been.
It is a little concerning to me, putting it under my budget too, because I don't have a problem hiring details when we are doing a road construction or we're working on Amherst Street or Pleasant Street or something like that, where we need a good traffic control setup. But it can get a little crazy if we're working on little side streets like Taylor Street and whatever. And I just hope that they're a little flexible as they have been in the past, because it's gonna really impact our budget. That's all.
But you're the one who determines if you need a detail or not.
Nope.
Nope, it's them?
Fire chief.
Let's put it this way, Jay.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
There have been occasions where the highway equipment has been totally off the road on the side, right away. A police officer will drive by, and within 5 or 10 minutes, the lieutenant or someone else, or a sergeant or whatever, will be visiting David and saying, why don't you have a police detail? He's not blocking traffic. He's on a side road, a very light traveled road, but the police are saying, you are required to have a detail.
Where's the requirement?
There is none. It's in their eyes.
Well, that
And then there's a grievance, and then there's this, and then there's that. David and I have talked about it many a times.
Okay.
It's an issue, okay?
I have to admit, you did take me one day.
And show me, and they were primarily off the road,
They're
and,
not blocking traffic, they're not hindering traffic.
and they want to shut him down.
Well, that's concerning to me, is whereas half the town LED lights have already been converted to LED without police details. And if they're gonna treat National Grid like that, they should treat him at least the same way. That's all I'm saying. The precedent has been set. All those lights have been changed without a police detail.
Preaching to the choir, Jay.
Okay, I'm just making a statement, that's all.
I think,
Which is your right to do so.
I think maybe if we show how much they make on details.
Oh, we have a
What-
problem, no, we have a problem with I report in the annual report, gross salary paid. They have an issue with that. They feel I should only be showing their base pay. No, because I'm showing what they make from overtime, shift, outside duty, differentials, everything. Because that's what it costs us to employ that individual.
Right, and that's what people need to know.
That's right. Because every year, people go in and question what they're making for pays. And that's their answer is, well, we shouldn't be showing police detail. We shouldn't be showing overtime. We shouldn't be showing shift differential. We should just be showing what their base pay is.
No.
Wrong.
That's not what the people are paying their taxes for.
Correct.
We show everything where the people's taxes go.
Sorry, David.
No, that's okay.
We went off on a tangent.
No, but the reason I'm having a little bit of an issue is because we know we're up against this new storm phase 2.
Yep.
And we're gonna be doing much more work, like catch basin cleaning.
Yep.
And I don't know what that number's gonna be, so there's an unknown there. If I knew it was gonna be the same number as last year, I know Chris has put enough money in there to cover it, I don't have a problem, you know? But there's some unknowns in the equation.
We don't know if there's going to be a windstorm. We don't know if we're going to
Yeah,
have another
yeah.
October storm where all the trees come down, they're going to require. All I'm saying is it is what it is.
We did our best shot, yeah.
Okay.
You budgeted what you think is gonna be appropriate.
Appropriate.
And if it's not, then we'll go from there down the road, but, I mean, it is what it
The
is.
selectmen can put pressure on the police department.
You know my feel about the fire department, that contract.
I will not put pressure on anybody.
Most of the other line items for my supplies and materials are minor tweaks, except for I did a little juggling between supplies and repairs. I put a lot more in the vehicle supplies and less in the repairs. The new vehicles, they go through a lot of diesel exhaust fluid, which is like a consumable, and so the supplies were going up much more than the repairs were, and I just juggled that. But they're still about the same overall between the two categories. And same thing with the other categories. I put a little bit more in drainage pipes and frames because we changed out a bunch of frames and grates on West Street last year. It looks like a huge increase, 40%, but I only added $600. It's a small category. So on the material side, there's really not a whole lot of changes. Snow and ice, I don't know if you have any questions about those.
It's just to be determined.
How are we doing this year, with the budget as far as snow removal and stuff?
I have a little question on the plows. I was gonna ask Chris on that one. I know we bought a plow for building maintenance. I was wondering, are we gonna eat that out of our budget? For,
You said we're taking it out of there, then you were going to get me the price of the plow package for your new one. And we were going to apply some of the money for.
From the sale of the other
From the
vehicle?
sale of the other
Okay.
vehicle, yes.
okay, so,
But you got to get me a price so I know what to move around.
okay, we paid the bill on that building maintenance plow. I think it was like 50-something hundred that
Yeah.
came in already.
Valley
I
Road,
was
yeah.
just looking at my budget, so there was like about 8,000 or 7,000 were spent on plows already.
And that was on you, I think, most part of it.
So
Like $3,000 was, I think, you, or $2,000.
I forget.
I'd have to go
what-
back and
Yeah,
look
I'd
at
have to
the
look at that
true
old, the when the other truck came in, yeah.
Right.
Okay, we'll get
So
together on
All I'm
that,
saying, you just need to give me a price so I know what to do.
what to transfer out, okay. Okay, because I was just looking at one of our sanders today, the one that we just put on, it's a stainless sander, we put on the hook lift, and it's tired. It's been in service for 5 years. It needs new chain, new sprockets. It's a stainless sander, so the structure is there, but the consumables need to be replaced. Yes, the sprockets are like razor sharp, and before we run it next year, I'll have to order those, and that also comes out of the snow account, R&M equipment. But there is funds still in that account. I think there's enough probably to purchase all of those. I'll be calling on that equipment.
We have not expended our snow and ice budget this year, to answer your question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay?
Sorry about that. Long story. We got sidetracked on that one.
Actually, Glenn, just to be honest with you, for the last 5 years, 6 years, we have budgeted properly so that when other towns are running out, we didn't.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay? Okay, so David and I made a concerted effort to get his budget properly funded for snow and ice control. So,
Yeah, and there's anything that gets left over just gets rolled back into general fund at the end of the season, so there's no worries, no,
Yeah, it's not like the extra money being spent.
no, if the salt shed is full, it's full, and I don't need to buy any more salt. It
That's right.
goes into the fund for next year.
and we make sure the salt shed is full.
And it's down a little bit right now, I gotta call in for an order.
But we make sure it's full.
We fill it up at
Before the end of the
season.
year, we make
Yeah.
sure it's full.
Before the price increases.
Yes.
So basically, I do not have the luxury of like adjusting for asphalt increases or anything like that. Usually I'm constrained by the 2% or close to it. Well,
Because we do know.
yeah,
On the price of oil.
price of oil, the price of repairs too on trucks, everything's going crazy. You know that emergency brake we just put on the loader was $5,000. And it's like, you can't run it. It locks up and it stops right where it is when it fails. And it was just about ready to fail. It was overheating. The brake was rubbing and, yeah, it was smoking. So,
He found it out he needed an axle.
a drive shaft, yeah. We try.
The one thing I want to point out under ice, snow and ice also is, we started using some contract labor. We hire out contractors to come in and help with the snow. Been working out very well. So what we are doing is if you notice, we're reducing some of our overtime, part-time overtime wage, and we're making that up with contracted services. If we can, we're going to try and get more contracted services into. That way we can, David assigns them a section of town, go to it, do it.
Which the state does.
Yep, so.
I've been putting all of them guys on the smaller roads, that way there we can keep the bigger sanders on the main roads where the traffic is. So we're hitting the traffic areas a little more frequently and putting more effort on those.
The smaller trucks are on my street.
And
Yep.
what we're planning on doing for next year is, some of them do have sander units that they carry on their trucks, so David's having them starting to sand along with their plowing operations, so he doesn't have to go back afterwards with another truck, so, part of the increase is we're looking at doing, a rate adjustment for when they have to use their
An
sander unit.
adjustment for the guys with the sander on the truck, because they're obviously,
You're right, yeah.
it's costing them a little bit more to run that vehicle than just a plow.
Right.
But, we're just trying to service the town quicker and faster, that's all we're trying to get done.
Well, I mean, and too, and people gotta realize too, it's not just, it's the wear and tear. It's less wear and tear on the vehicles as well, which reality is you're saving money because it's less wear and tear.
So you can get 30 years out of your trucks now.
What, 1993 or something you got one?
Yeah, we've got an older one than that. 92 is the vac truck, we've got a 93 one-ton. We just,
Yeah, come on, that back truck, we upgraded.
Rated from a 76, come on.
yeah, we upgraded 20 years newer.
Very good.
That's where overhaul and repair is justifiable, is more important than buying new.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm looking at that orange peel grapple for capital for this year too, because the cost of a vac truck is like $400,000. And it's really tough duty on a vac truck to do catch basin cleaning. It's high maintenance, high wear, because your high velocity sand is getting sandblasting the inside of the tubes and the curves and everywhere inside that truck. So it's high maintenance.
Just for an example, I know it's off subject a bit, but the majority of the helicopters used over in the sandbox, they were left there because they took so much sand in and they got so much eaten up, they weren't used to repairing and overhauling. It's cheaper to buy new. because sand eats it up that quick, all the bearings and everything else.
Gonna get a helicopter?
No, but I'm just saying thing of moving parts within sand, that's all I'm saying.
So, do you have any specific questions with that?
You only have one article, you said, was it one article for the town meeting, that buy that new piece of equipment?
Three.
Okay. Could you briefly go over them quick?
Two trucks and the catch basin cleaner, basically. What we're trying to do, there are a couple different options for the orange peel grapple. You can buy a truck-mounted unit that's solely designated with an orange peel, a little crane on it, basically, and it goes down and it goes through the water, so it's a little quicker than a vac truck because you don't have to suck the water out of the catch basin first before you start removing the sand. Just goes right through the water, grabs the sand, comes up, throws it in the truck. The truck-mounted ones go for around $180,000, just a little crane and grapple. There's another option of $120,000 for a hook lift mounted one. They just started building the hook lift this year. Probably not a good idea to buy one of the first ones when they're just working out the little bugs. But we heard about a town that put one on an excavator, basically. We went up to Williamsburg and saw it, and the guys said they love it. Works well. It's just basically the orange peel grapple that would be the truck-mounted version on a little excavator. So my thoughts were to buy a little Bobcat mini excavator and run it with that. But the Bobcat we would purchase would also have a boom-mounted mower on it, which one of our boom-mounted mowers was purchased before I started here, and it's getting pretty tired, and it's a little small. This would give us a little bit more reach. It's a bigger machine, so it would do two functions. It's going to do the catch basin cleaning and the boom mowing, same machine, and it would be a little mini excavator with a grapple on it for handling debris, storms like the windstorm a week ago. You can use it for everything. It's all kind of attachment. Hammers, we've rented the little Bobcats. When we did Harris Street, both phases, we had that same machine with a hammer on it demoing rock. So there's lots of uses for it that we would use it for in addition to the catch basin cleaning, but the catch basin cleaning alone will almost pay for itself in 1 year if we do it in-house.
Would you say the 75 catch basins that we said?
I had,
700?
yeah, 700 basins we have to clean this year, and the average productivity, I had a spreadsheet for the capital committee, if I can find it here, the justification for it. Typically, we've been getting about 15 basins a day, so it's costing us over $100 a basin. If we're cleaning 700 basins, that's $70,000 we'd contract out. In addition, I've still got to send my people out there to oversee, to show them where the basins are, to measure, to collect the data. If I'm sending my guys out anyway, I might as well just send them out with the machine and have them do the work. Send one more laborer with them and we're done. It makes no sense to me to contract $70,000 out for that, but. Right, and we're gonna have multi-purpose machine that's not gonna be just catch basins, it'll be boom mowing, it'll be everything.
Year after year, too.
Oh, that's this year, it probably will go up because when these new permits come into effect, there is gonna be a real problem with supply and demand on these catch basin cleaners. These guys are not gonna be able to handle the amount of the workload that's going to be generated from all the cities and towns. So I can only imagine what the price is going to do in the next couple of years. The other vehicle is a 2001 sander that we wanted to replace. And the reason trying to get these things going now is we tried to spread them out a little bit so we don't have all of our trucks getting to be 25 years old in the same year and replacing them all in one big bunch. The truck we ordered last year that we got authorized at last town meeting won't even be built until next October. I don't know why they're so far behind on that particular size truck, but they are. That's the truck being built. Then it's got to go to the upfitter, put the body on it. I may not even see it until after next winter. That's the truck that was approved last year. So we have two other vehicles in that same vintage. I've got a 2001 Peterbilt, 2001 Sterling, and last year we got authorization to replace the 2000 International. That's the one that's being replaced next.
But you're getting the high teens, the low 20s year-old usage of the vehicle.
Oh, yes,
It's not
and-
like you're turning around every 5 or 6 years.
And we're repairing these constantly. Even my 2008, I had holes in it this year that I could put my hand through. We had to cut out steel and replace it. The other 2001, I can show you pictures. We rebuilt the entire sander body on it. It just gets to a point where it gets cost prohibitive to try to keep them going after you get about 20 years old on a sander. Everything starts to rot on it. So basically, that's the big truck. The other truck is the 93 one-ton that we use for patching all the time, and that truck is getting very difficult to get parts for. We had the Mickey Mouse, a throttle cable on it, because they don't make it anymore. We had the Mickey Mouse, an emergency brake cable for it. Try to fab parts up and use a brake cable from another vehicle and retrofit it, because we can't get the specific part for that thing anymore. So, and that's one we already had switched the motor on it, came from one of our other one-tons. That was rotten. So that's the capital. Any questions on budgets, capital?
No, as far as, I don't have any either, but I mean, a lot of people that do talk now don't realize Dave is Mr. Catch-all. Just because it's highway department doesn't mean he doesn't do everything, sewers, everything else.
And we do try to
Right.
use the equipment as long as we possibly can. In fact, we purchased a used sweeper last year. We had a 1989. We upgraded to a 2002, so we upgraded 12 years newer. And to switch it over, I think, what did we spend on that, Chris? Do you remember? It was like $6,500. It was just, we just fell into a deal.
Dealing with belts and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of problems with our other one, and we did have to do some work to it. We had to cut some steel out and replace it. But we have some guys that are pretty talented on fabbing, and a lot of towns won't even touch that stuff, so they just get rid of it. If we see something that we can make work for quite a few years, we'll make it work rather than spending another $180,000 on a sweeper. But again, sweepers are part of this new storm phase. 2 regs, we've got to sweep. We're forced to more often. So I guess we're trying to save money where we can on some of the old stuff, but you can only do that so much on the frontline pieces that are used all the time. You really need to keep them in a replacement program that keeps them up to date.
The upgrade of Route 202 is going to affect you as far as curbing and sidewalks and all stuff like that. Is that something we have to start looking at?
I haven't looked at anything like that because it's still a few years out. I'm hopeful that if we do have to do anything with sidewalks, that would be the only thing that we would have to contend with. And if we do, we've got a few years to plan for that.
Well, I'm thinking, right now, if you got any sand or stuff on the road, you can just brush it off into the side of the road. But once you got curbs, you got to pick it up too.
That's the state.
That's not him.
That's the
Oh,
state.
that's right.
They
That's right.
maintain.
You're right.
They
You're
maintain
right.
the road. The only thing that they won't do is plow the sidewalks.
That's right. You are correct.
And we are going to look at putting a bylaw in effect
Right.
requiring the homeowner to maintain the sidewalk if it's in front of their property.
Whoever owns the property where the sidewalk is, residential or business, will be responsible for cleaning the sidewalk within 24 hours so the kids can get to school.
And who's gonna enforce the 24 hours?
Well, it's either gonna be the zoning enforcement officer or the police. I know in Enfield, Connecticut, it's the police. If they come by,
I'm just saying, a lot of times, you can put 24 hours.
Any more questions for Dave?
I don't have any more.
no.
Thank you.
Thanks. Come down anytime if you want to see the fleet. It's easier to see it. Picture's worth 1,000 words.
I've been there how many times already?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with his trucks. Come on.
As you can see from in the cab and through the other side, you don't even have to open the door.
So you're saying it's good ventilation?
Yes.
Yeah. Great for the summer, but not for the winter.
Just turn the heater up high.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dave.
Letting me come in late. Thanks.
It won't happen again.
What, coming in late or letting them?
Letting him.
Didn't mean to keep you so long. After a long meeting. Good night.
Yep.
Thank you.
Take care, David.
Okay.
Reports.
Department reports, yeah, reports. This will be the next meeting.
That's correspondence.
Kathy, I want to forward this email to you. Glenn's reading this. Basically, there was a glitch in the Mass VIP program software. That's why we were up so late this morning trying to get into them. Every time we hit submit, it come back with a different price. Sejal sent me an email that as long as the application is reviewed in the order they are received beginning tomorrow, as long as you receive a confirmation, which we did, that your application was received by Mass DEP, that is fine. I'm not going to call you up Chris's email.
I'll make a motion, we accept the departmental reports.
And I will second Glenn's motion as read.
All in favor? Aye.
Let me take care of this here. You can pass it down when it's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve and sign maintenance warrants for fiscal year 19, number 54, 55, and 56.
I second Glenn's motion.
All in favor? Aye. Should get a different sticker on this one, huh? Improvements and gravel permits, renewals.
It's like used car dealer license for Class 2 to buy and sell second-hand motor vehicles for AMAJ Inc. Does business as AJ's Auto Body at 39 West State Street, Granby, Mass.
No change from previous years, is it?
No.
Well, the only.
Does that have to do with the site plan approval that we talked about before?
We had sent a letter saying he needed to go in front of the planning board because he wasn't following the site plan that he had identified where to put the used cars and all the other stuff because they were storing cars along the wooded area. When he came in, he wanted to know why we were requiring him to go to the planning board. And we explained that while he took over all of the Yankee Glass old area in his own area, our concern was the placement of the vehicles on the property and that they were infringing on conservation land. He turned around and said that he would make sure that no cars were parked there. Okay, anymore. He did clean up the cars along the wooded area, but he still has a tow truck sitting there. The other concern we had is as part of the permit, it said that no vehicles with major damage were to be left out in sight after hours. Okay? Well, there's been a white car that's been sitting there, I want to say, for at least a week and a half. Did the building inspector make it out there today, do you know?
Yes, he did.
And did AJ say?
He was working on it, he wasn't happy that we stopped by. He said, look at it this way, they're being a courtesy of letting you know you're working on your application tonight, and they were giving you fair warning. And he said that he would take care of it.
'Cause I know a lot of people are watching that site regarding making sure they're following what the permit says.
Right, but I think the site plan was because he's taking over more of the building now.
Precisely.
So the concern was his old site plan stated one thing and we wanted to do the new site plan if it's going to be expanding and using the other part of that property.
But if you read the permit never really identified so many square feet of property. They had to file the site plan right there of where they're gonna put their used cars, where they're gonna put their cars to be repaired type of thing. They never identified the square footage on the inside.
That's correct, that was pre-existing to bylaws. And on the spot, they only have 5 unregistered vehicles out front. And, yeah, when I was on the planning board with you guys had me look that one up.
For AJ's?
Yeah. Yep, pre-existing for the parking and all that stuff, because they never look at the map. There's no topographical, there's no nothing. They accepted it as is. And it was way, way back. And there was only 5 unregistered vehicles allowed, but most of the vehicles there that are damaged are registered. So they don't count according to the previous site plan because they're registered. He only can have 5 unregistered vehicles.
When was this submitted?
So it was a long time ago when I dug that up.
That just keeps being submitted on an annual basis
Oh.
as part of the permit renewal
okay,
process.
okay.
As part of the permit renewal process.
I just when I went out to Hampshire County of Deeds to get that stuff way back when. It was a long time ago.
You have a problem on the back of the napkin?
I want to make sure that it's accurate. It's accurate, so we can see where.
Well, this is what we're doing. We're telling him.
When he put in his original permit, we said, no, because you're parking cars along that tree line. Well, there's pavement there. That's not what you said in your plan here. This is what you're going to do.
Is this the whole building, or is this just the auto body? And is there used to be the Yankee glass over here?
No, Yankee Glass was over in this area.
Yeah, over here. Which way is it going?
How are we looking at it? So it's gotta be that
Okay,
way.
right here. This is where Yankee Glass
This
is.
is over there, that end.
Right.
Well, he's taking over the whole building.
Yeah, but he's still only having 6 used cars for sale. He's supposed to keep all his damaged vehicle out of sight in the back pen area or whatever he has back there. And he's not supposed to have anything along that other area.
See, the only thing I'm wondering is that this is, this is what the site plan is. But as far as he's taken on more of the building, so, really being fair to him, did he want to submit a new site plan so he can use the additional part? Because
It's
that
all
was,
interior though. It's nothing on the exterior that he's.
well, sure,
that's
the rest of the building goes down the rest of the way.
But it's all interior that he's using. What effect does that have on the site plan approval? I'm just asking the question.
No, but I'm asking, so if this ends here and the building goes down over here,
No, I think that is the end of the building.
that's the end of the building?
Yeah.
So that's his new site plan he submitted?
So this is the end of the building, then his previous site plan would have been
Precisely.
not
That's
here,
what I'm
that the
saying.
used cars would have been here, not down here.
Actually, the used cars were out front.
They're always, been out.
I think they're always at the end of the building, if I remember right.
Out front.
But at the end of the building, I don't think they were pushed inwards.
They're right across from the AJ's door into the auto body. They weren't down farther towards the Yankee Glass.
Just saying so that it's correct for the business that he has currently. So just that as people, they saying things, that is his current
I think
site plan, so it's fine.
Well, I think what people are saying, at nighttime, he does not put all his in-process vehicles, shall we say, behind closed doors, either inside or behind a fence. He doesn't do that because his business has expanded, so he has more to work on. If we turned around from here and looked at it there, the right side he has a fence. The left side, there is no fence at all.
But that's what I'm saying. He can submit that as such, and that's what we'll go by. But I'm just saying more towards, more for, as you kind of said, his business has increased, so I want to make sure that for him, that his site plan is warrants what the business is as far as these things. So
parking,
people aren't
everything
saying, well, he has vehicles parked over here, and according to his, site plan on record, he shouldn't have vehicles parked there. Should his site plan, should he look at having his site plan updated
Well, he would
There's
never have
business.
shown the vehicles being parked to the left side of the building because he never used or never had that side of the building. So when he submitted the site plan, there would be nothing over there. But now that he uses it, he uses that side of the building.
He can't, it's wetlands.
I understand that.
And that's why we turned around and said we weren't gonna deal with his permit because he had cars parked in the wetlands. And he was gonna have to go in front of conservation and planning. Because no way is planning or conservation gonna allow him to park in a wetland.
No. It'd be so many feet apart. It's just like the problem we got at the school. You can't mow the grass within certain feet of the well.
And then there's the other issue is that, he keeps his tow truck parked over there now.
And that's got oil, hydraulic fluid, and everything else in it. And it's got to be so far away from the wetlands.
The glass company that used to be there used to park their vans over there.
Which is true. Which was a bone of contention with conservation.
But did they have a site plan that was approved at one time?
I
don't know. I don't know. I'm just
You know,
asking.
When was this? It was
Approved.
when I looked it up.
What?
Oh, why, years and years and years ago.
I don't know, how long has AJ been there?
Yeah, I mean, many years
So
ago.
that's what I'm indicating. I mean, he's showing the entire building as it, but it doesn't depict anything.
What I'm saying is, I don't have an issue from this board with the site plan, with the understanding that anything outside this, he is responsible for. That's,
And that's why we are
Yeah.
keeping the building inspector going over there when we see violations. Because that site's always been an issue with violations.
right, so I'm just wondering, is he better off submitting a new site plan that he can incorporate that to find out, okay, here is, conservation, here is wetlands, you need to be X amount of feet, so you can park up to here, to kind of just, so you can set his, a better site plan for outside, but again, if this is what he wants to go with, then I'm okay with it, but the understanding is that you're gonna be held accountable for anything that's outside the,
The issue was when he received
Site
the
plan.
letter. When he received the letter, he walked in and wanted to know what's going on. That was his answer. And I explained what the issue was. I don't think he voluntarily is going to go in front of the planning board to update his site plan approval. I will tell you that much right now. Okay? I said, as long as you cleaned up everything that was in violation of this little plan, I don't have a problem. Also, in his permit, it says any vehicle that needs repair has to be put out of sight. He says, well, you can't blame me if someone drops something off after hours. No, I won't blame you for that. But they better be gone by the next night. And like I said, I've been seeing that white car parked in that same spot with the front end damage for at least a week. And I see his tow truck parked out in the wetland area. So we had the building inspector visit him as a courtesy, and he got upset that the building inspector was visiting him. Well, you better be prepared, because if you're violating your permit at all, guess what? Someone's going to be out to visit you. So this board better be prepared for him to come in and complain to you that he's being picked on.
It's the same with Larimore.
But I'm just saying, be prepared,
I have no
okay?
problem.
That's all I'm saying, Glenn. This board has to be prepared.
no, I'm prepared, and if it's just like anything, if someone is complaining or filing a complaint about it, then that's gotta be followed up on, it's gotta be investigated. I mean, that's any, with anything, any business. But I also wanna make sure that we're being, business friendly as a community as well. So that's why I'm saying is, and you can't always send the letter to him and explain to him. I just want to make sure that he understands that he has the ability to go in front of the planning board to maybe reconfigure his site plan, maybe to fit him better now than it did years ago, where his business wasn't as big. That's so. But again, I'm okay accepting this site plan. But the understanding is anything outside of it, he is responsible for anything outside of the site plan that's approved with his permit, so.
Yes, I understand. I go by it every day now because
with Town Hall down here. I go drive it by it every day when I'm coming into work and when I'm going home. And I'm just being honest, you know, if I'm the complainant, I'm the complainant.
The thing of it is, it really doesn't have to be a resident complaining. It could be a zoning enforcement officer himself seeing something's not in accordance with what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but you can be looking on the right-hand side of the road instead of the left-hand side of the road as you're
You can always
driving.
play the game, and just like numbers.
Yes, okay. Where I'm being proactive because my issue is I was the one who had to send that last letter, so I'm watching. And he said he was going to get rid of the cars and comply with what the site plan said.
So, in reading this here, okay, vehicles with major damage waiting to be repaired must be stored outside or inside the building.
But if he's stating that, he's not saying that they're under,
Well, what's major repair?
well, I'm looking at it as far as not being seen at night. You
Well,
can
it
store
says-
them outside during the day.
I'm reading the permit.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, according
Or
to the
license.
site plan, that permit doesn't meet the site plan.
Do you want to change major damage to any damage? It's up to you. It's up to the board.
No, again, I want to be business friendly as well. I mean, I'm not looking to,
But when you're driving by and you're looking at a car with total front-end damage, okay, I have a problem with that. Yeah, it's got a dent in the side or something like that. I'm not going to worry about that, but when you look at that truck that was out there this morning when I come in, you know, the whole front right quarter, left quarter, right quarter is gone.
but again, so.
But as long as that's put out of sight at
So
the end.
an accident happens Friday afternoon, Friday night, and someone tows the vehicle there, it's dropped
And
off Friday
But
night.
it's a weekend. He's not in there. But by Monday night, it should be put away out of sight or inside the building. That's all we're saying, out of sight or inside the building. So if he wants to put up a 10-foot high fence, it's out of sight, I guess, as far as I'm concerned.
That's why I said, if he puts a fence on this side of the building, you have more storage area behind it, as long as it's not in the wetlands.
Again, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the site plan is the same site plan he's had for years, and it's just, you know, that he understands he has the opportunity to go in front of the planning board, and, you know, if he feels that, maybe he doesn't feel the need to change the site plan, but I want to make sure the option's there, so, you know, if his business has grown.
Well, if the planning board wants to send a nice letter to him, then so be it.
No, it would be one of these things. I think it would be advantageous of him to go in front of the planning board and revise the situation. It could benefit him greatly.
Well, again,
I mean,
that's the site plan, he's held to the site plan, anything outside of that, he is held responsible for as well, just like any other businesses. So with that said, I'll make a motion that we approve the used car dealer license for Class 2 to buy and sell secondhand motor vehicles for, I guess it's AMAJ Inc., does business as AJ's Auto, 39 West 8th Street, Granby, Mass. On premises described as follows. It's a metal Butler building on Route 202, some frontage for placement of cars for resale, storage in a rear building for non-repaired cars, restrictions, no more than 6 used motor vehicles for sale at one time, vehicles with major damage waiting to be repaired must be stored out of sight or inside the building.
I'm just thinking about what you read, that's all.
Want to read it again?
What you just, yeah. The only thing I'm stuck on, and I'm not trying to be picky, is define major damage. I don't know. I really don't. And I don't know what the previous license have said. The same as it's always been. Okay. Okay, I have no idea. That's why I was just asking. Because it does say on the site plan that he has to put them behind. But it says, on this permit, it says he only has to put them behind if they have major damage.
Always said that.
Right, that's why I just asked Kathy. I didn't know.
Right, well, that's why I started off asking before.
Right, well,
You can change the license.
the license should meet the site plan. Because otherwise you got a conflict within yourself.
Let's request a file from the planning board for what the planning board approved for site plan approval.
And we'll write the license based upon that, what he's authorized to do. That way we're not hindering, we're not hurting him at all. We're just saying, these are the rules that you were given.
Understand, the Class 2 license isn't issued by a planning board or based upon a planning board. It's by the Board of
I
Selectmen,
understand.
based upon what they want to be allowed to be seen out there. Because this is a completely different section of the law. It does not fall under anything for planning board.
So basically you're saying the select board can be stricter than the planning board if
Yes,
they
they
so
can.
desire.
They can be more lenient, they can be more restrictive.
I don't,
Because-
how can they be more lenient with a zoning enforcement officer that would have to enforce the site plan? I'm
He's
just asking a
enforcing the
question.
site plan. But if he's enforcing based upon the Class 2 license permit, that's under the Board of Selectmen, he's enforcing it under.
Okay. To me, they should be the same. That's all I'm saying. Apples and apples.
But your site plan is not going to have restrictions as far as like a major vehicle, because it gets into, again, definition of what is considered major damage.
I don't know. I can't, it's been so long since we looked it up on the
Yeah.
planning board when we did it together.
I think it looked like that, pretty much.
There was some wording in there
Yeah.
too with it, on the decision.
Well, that's my motion to approve the license as read. So that's just based on, that's what it's been the past previous years. And I don't know, as a board, we want to get into what is considered major damage and what's not major damage, because I don't know what to consider that, you know.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any abstain?
Yeah, I'll abstain because I think they should be the same.
See, an abstention is a no vote.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, to say you're abstaining, Jay, there's
Well, I was
no...
gonna go to Hampshire County Deeds and see what it said.
But all I'm saying is you can't abstain because there is no reason for you to abstain, because you abstain when you don't attend a meeting or you have some other reason for not being able to vote.
Well, I just was gonna look for information at Hampshire County Deeds, that's why.
Well, it's getting kind of late now, so the issue is we've been here almost 5.5 hours, Jay. You said you're tired.
I am beat. Yeah, well,
What you can do is the board can do it this year and make it a task to investigate what the planning board original stuff was and what it says elsewhere. You know, I'm even debating whether I want to go through this draft warrant with the board tonight, because it's getting late. And everybody's getting tired because it's been a wearing meeting. The only other thing I would want to discuss is the annual Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, that's important.
Do they turn that clock ahead?
It's 8:18.
8:19 right now.
Well, yeah, it just turned 8:19 for me. Did you hear the little ding?
I got a consistent
If he doesn't want to sign it, we have 2 board members who signed it.
Jay, did you want to sign this? No?
No, if I said no, I don't sign.
Move right along.
Annual Easter egg hunt. It's coming time on Easter time again. And the board last year put on the annual Easter egg hunt due to the fact that the ladies club, PM club, I'm sorry, the Granby PM club dissolved, I believe. So the Board of Selectmen conducted our first Easter egg hunt last year. This year it would be, let's see, what is it, April 20th or something like that? April 20th. She has a date in her head, so. Would like to try and make sure that the board members try and attend, and it's a Saturday, first thing.
I will be out of town.
You'll be out of town? You already know that off the top of your head.
I do know when I'll be out of town, yes.
So I would like to see if the other two board members could be in attendance.
You want me to bring my camera like last year and take pictures?
Sure.
Kathy?
I'll be
Not
more
of me.
than happy to,
Not of me.
I'll be more than happy to, once again this year, distribute the Easter eggs.
Chris is on vacation that time too.
No, I'll be here for that.
Well, I'm just saying, according to my schedule, I can't.
Yes, I am on vacation, but if I don't show up, Kathy will kill me, and I don't need to have that hanging over my head when I walk in that Monday.
Yeah, she kills you, yeah.
Now, what time?
Well, she is going to be the assistant town administrator, so she can just move into the full road.
I use the word CEO again. What time do you want to start that, Chris? I forget. Do we start at 9 o'clock? Was it?
I think we do 9 o'clock.
No, we get there at 9, the thing doesn't start till 11.
Well, he can help distribute eggs out in the
Right.
field. That's the joyous part of it.
And so.
Spreading out 2,500 eggs is a joy.
And the seniors will fill the eggs again.
The seniors in here, yeah.
Yes.
So,
You get to walk around the big field by the pavilion, putting eggs
The
out all
seniors are
over.
gonna fill the 2,500 eggs?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they
They
do.
did last year.
Oh, whoa, she
They
said,
did.
I
Oh, calm down.
understand that.
Yes,
I understand
yes,
that.
they do.
I'm wondering, is there something we could do for the seniors?
We do. You buy them a meal once a year.
Here,
I mean, besides that, it's be grateful to.
It's up to this board what they want to do. But
we can
That's what
provide
I'm
hot
recommending.
chocolate and tea and donuts and coffee and.
how do I know they don't sneak some of the chocolate while they're stuffing on it?
Well, I'm
I
assuming
think what they put in the coffee counts.
they
At the site, you
no,
know,
they stuffed the cookies,
they stuff the cookies.
the eggs before that. So I don't know. I mean, it's maybe it's like a pizza thing, a pizza party.
the actual hunt starts at 11 a.m.
I just think we should do something.
Yes, we could have a pizza party.
I think it's nice. I think that's a nice thing that they're doing.
Will you
I
be
think it's-
attending the pizza party?
Probably not.
Why not?
No, because I just think we should be acknowledging that, and is there something we can do to that? Because that's a lot of that's a lot of.
A lot of stuffing.
No, it's a big task to take on,
Yeah,
so-
it is, and also a demographic.
and I just want to recognize it.
65 and over, and Granby's increasing, it's up to 16% of the population now.
All right, can I just go over
Yes.
calendars with the board too? With me being on vacation, April 11th through basically the 21st.
Yep.
Normally, we would have a board meeting on April 16th.
15.
Well, we would anyway.
15th is Patriots Day. We're not allowed.
Okay.
We're not allowed to meet that day.
Patriots Day.
Third Monday in April is celebrating the Revolution Day. So does the board want to meet the week of the 22nd? Because I know that's a planning board week for you, Glenn.
It is. I won't be in town. I'm still away.
You'll be gone that whole week of the 22nd?
I'll be back the 23rd.
Well, I'm just saying, do you want to meet 23rd, 24th, or 25th? Because to sign the special town meeting warrant, it has to be 2 weeks before the meeting date. So it has to be posted by the 26th to meet our 2 week.
I'm fine with the 23rd. I just know I won't be around that Monday, so
Okay.
I'm fine. What's that, Thursday?
That would be that Thursday.
That's fine too.
Okay.
Jay, what's your schedule look like?
Checking now. 23rd, I got something, but the 24th and 25th are free right now.
Do you want to do the 25th early or late afternoon?
Yeah,
Sure,
but
I'd love to
Sure.
do that.
What do you want to do, at 3 or 4 o'clock or something like that?
What's your schedule like?
3 o'clock works fine.
Okay,
Early,
3 o'clock.
Early, so.
Okay.
So I'm going to move that one from the 15th to the 25th.
Okay.
15th.
Otherwise, if you want, I could go over the draft warrant the first. With the gentleman.
Please.
Planning board. Are you still moving forward with everything that Lil had put forward for the special town meeting on the 11th?
Yes, they actually, I believe they have their public hearing actually at that April
22nd?
22nd, yeah.
All right, because what I want to start doing is putting it at the warrant for the special town meeting in May.
Okay.
And I'll take Lil's thing and I'll start putting that together
Yeah.
to the warrant, so.
Because I know we went over, that's actually the public meeting
Okay.
for that night, for the
So-
public input, April 22nd.
So because right now what I'm doing is putting together the warrants in addition to hopefully trying to balance the budget. Hopefully.
Was there a gravel pit permit in there?
That's moved to next meeting because it hadn't been addressed by the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
So, and like I said, discussing the preliminary ATM warrant will move to the next meeting also, which will be April 1st.
So that's all these pages here.
Yes.
April Fool's Day. Okay. Anything else?
Yep. Minutes, March 4th.
Yeah, always good, because we always leave those out.
And I'll make a motion to accept them because I already read them.
Back of them signed.
In the back. No, she emailed it to me, actually. So there won't be any inside.
Don't run away, we gotta get your signature on the right line.
No.
I'll make a motion that we accept the select board meeting minutes from March 4th, 2019.
And I will second Claire's motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Anything else?
Did you sign the minutes?
I did not.
Steve, did you sign the minutes?
No. I'll sign the minutes.
Thank you.
No, is it in the right place?
Sign next to Glenn's minutes. Wherever the sign is, and the sign, to sign.
That's what I did. In a lot of trouble.
This one is correct, that's one side. There's no line.
Today, Mr. Martin, I contacted him and I requested the first and last thing, the budget, or preliminary budget from the school department so we could have some type of indication or whatever. I want to see a budget before we start going over it and go over a budget, start looking at it, and the response that was given was certainly not,
Well, it's not ready yet.
well,
Isn't that the response? It wasn't ready yet?
the response is they're not giving it to me.
Or wasn't ready yet?
No.
The response was,
The response was, she didn't feel comfortable giving it to the Board of Selectmen before the school committee voted on it. But the issue is they did discuss a budget with the finance committee and you present
Yes,
2 weeks ago.
yes.
Why couldn't they give us that draft line item budget
And I know there's a meeting.
on the 20th?
20th, Wednesday night as well.
And the line item budget will be available after that meeting. Well, what are you discussing that night?
I don't know until I get there.
Okay, but I'm just saying is don't you think it would have been nice to
Well,
at least have something
right.
to have reviewed beforehand?
Right, so the previous meeting that I was at, there wasn't an actual line item budget done yet. It was more talking about what the budget is, what they thought it was gonna come in at. There was, it wasn't, I think, it was line item, but it wasn't line item. So I think it's maybe this particular meeting coming up might be more clarification on everything.
But the issue is to have a number by category, school committee, administration, whatever, you have to have a line item budget to come to those numbers.
Right. So maybe at this upcoming meeting.
But all I'm
8,000 will be
saying,
there.
is it seems like a stonewall tactic, that's all. And that's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm planning on attending the meeting, and I will inquire about it
Yeah.
on behalf of the board, if you wish.
The one on Wednesday?
Yes.
Because, and I know Jay would like to look at it, Steve would like to, I'm sure you would want to look at it beforehand. And I checked with John LeBaron, and he says he hasn't gotten anything either. And at that last meeting, he asked for something in this format.
Right.
And he still hasn't gotten it.
So I don't know if maybe that's what's going to be presented at this meeting. So I will, we'll see if it's at that meeting. For some reason it's not, I'll inquire about it. But if it's there, then at least I know it's all set.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
That's all. Just,
On March 11th, school committee meeting, they did put the budget up there on the screen, showing in the general areas.
it wasn't a detailed line
I
item
didn't
budget.
say, I was gonna
But
say. I'm
that's
just-
what Glenn was talking about, that's what they talked about beforehand.
But I think on the 25th of March, aren't they scheduled for a public hearing about the budget?
It's 26th, I think there is the second public hearing on it or something.
I
or
thought
other.
it was the 25th.
So I guess it's this meeting on Wednesday, there might be more information there, and we'll go from there, and hopefully everything's, maybe set. Obviously, they'll present it to the finance committee is gonna be there, I'll be there.
When we did the general bylaws, wasn't this something that we read in writing that's supposed to be presented to the select board 4 days in advance? Documents?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I read too much. I thought I read that. I'll have to go back and look at that. I thought I read something that the select board is supposed to get the stuff 4 days in advance.
That's in bylaws for a selectman meeting.
Oh, it's in our bylaws for the, I knew I read it somewhere.
Well, there's nothing else that I can think of.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion at this time to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.